subdue her. After restraining the woman, she was taken to a hospital for a routine medical evaluation before paramedics attempted to take her to a psychiatric hospital. Roberts said investigators are looking into how the woman was able to get out of the ambulance. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Gordon whipped the southern tip of Florida with high winds and rain on Monday and was expected to make landfall as a hurricane along the central U.S. Gulf Coast on Tuesday night, according to the National Hurricane Center. The storm is currently forecast to come ashore late on Tuesday near the border between Louisiana and Mississippi and drop as much as 8 inches of rain in some areas of the U.S. South, still reeling from hurricanes a year ago. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency, saying 200 Louisiana National Guardsmen were being deployed, along with 63 high water trucks, 39 boats, and 4 helicopters. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency warned of storm surges between 3 and 5 feet and told residents of South Mississippi to prepare to evacuate. The National Hurricane Center said Gordon was generating winds of 50 miles per hour on Monday as it steamed west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. By Monday afternoon, the storm had passed over Florida's southern tip. There were no reports of any injuries or deaths or damages to buildings, according to Alberto Moscoso, a spokesman for the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Last year, powerful hurricanes walloped Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, causing thousands of deaths, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage, massive power outages, and devastation to hundreds of thousands of structures. At the mouth of the Mississippi River, around the area of New Orleans, the storm could generate a surge of up to 4 feet, and smaller surges could hit coastland along other parts of the Gulf Coast. The U.S. Coast Guard also warned that the ports of New Orleans, as well as Gulfport and Pascagoula, Mississippi, may have to close within 48 hours when gale force winds from Gordon are expected to arrive. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
According to a new report released this week by the Pew Research Center, a rising number of weak, emasculated men are working as stay-at-home dads, with a steadily increasing number of feeble, pathetic fayboys choosing to spend their days cooking, cleaning, and performing other submissive duties.
Well, our findings indicate that more and more pussified half-men are not going to work, and instead are embarrassing themselves by purchasing groceries, packing children's lunches, and denying all aspects of their masculinity on a daily basis.
The Onion spoke to one of these effete, pathetic excuses for men to get his response on the new report.
I love being able to stay home with Angela. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
What a f***ing pussy. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here, bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got Discord. Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you. It's a big upgrade in your sound quality, by the way, and it's super easy to get in there. All you have to have is the Discord app, which you can get over at discordapp.com for all variety of operating systems. And then just jump into the call-in line rooms on our server over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Johnson, you wanted to talk about something, and we're going to get to it, I think, a little bit later, about positive liberty. And, of course, that always requires us to define what that means. The statement here is that it's not true liberty, or is it? Right. And so we can talk about that. But, Mark, you've got some hot news of the day that I guess a lot of people are buzzing about. I'm not really on social media that much, so I haven't seen any of this. Colin Kaepernick is back in the headlines regarding a Nike sponsorship. And people are pissed off?
Oh, yeah, they are.
from Bloomberg. BloombergQuint.com, and I'm not sure what changed there. Anyway, Nike. Which one? What are we going with here?
Nike is how you pronounce that, I believe.
Thank you. Nike falls as critics fume on social media over Kaepernick deal. The backlash started just hours after Colin Kaepernick, the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback who sparked controversy for kneeling during the national anthem, tweeted that he's starring in Nike's iconic "Just Do It" ad campaign. Following the announcement, the hashtags boycott Nike.
Before you go on, that's a long time they've had that slogan, right? Like,
just do it.
Companies will change their slogans over time, but Nike, they're still using "Just Do It."
That, and there's a few others that have come along, but yes.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah. So hashtag boycott Nike and hashtag just burn it. Started trending on Twitter. Shares started falling. I think this is an exaggeration.
3%.
Yeah, dude, yeah, 4.
Well, this is the same day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
the stock
3%
market,
in
that's
a day.
pretty huge.
Yeah, 3% in a day is noteworthy, I would say.
You can
for day number one?
Since
could
it's
be
Bloomberg,
could be chance.
Since it's Bloomberg, it's worth reporting. But I mean, seriously, it's not that big of a deal. When Tony Stark announced that Stark Industries was no longer going to make weapons, they dropped 67 points.
That's fiction.
Okay, well, this might as well be, because it'll be back up soon enough. Going on.
You could be right. But aren't there stories about, and I've not followed this closely, for listeners that, maybe also have been living under a rock in regards to the sports world, I remember hearing about Colin Kaepernick. We talked about him on the air a couple of years ago when he made headlines for kneeling during the national anthem, and that resulted in this purported boycott of the NFL from longtime fans, Republicans presumably, or whatever, people who love the police state, because Colin Kaepernick, you can be a Democrat and also love the police state. So people that love the police state have been, they've been ostensibly boycotting. And I remember seeing a headline recently claiming that NFL's attendance is down, like 2 years in a row.
So part of the reason that NFL's attendance is down, so if you're just going to blame this whole kneeling thing on the NFL, some people are not into the NFL anymore because they didn't come down hard enough on the kneelers, and some people are not into the NFL because they came down at all and didn't support the kneelers.
Okay.
So you have this.
You have a double-edged boycott.
It's a difficult situation. I think that it's
where no matter what they do, somebody's going to boycott them.
Right. Now, Nike, not being fools, okay? Nobody, these people at Nike did not say to themselves, let's just go out and step in a pile of dog poo. Right? They're not stupid. They said, there are enough, well, okay, we know who our target audience is, and there are enough people out there.
You mean white kids with money?
White kids that don't hate black athletes.
Okay.
All right? And it's probably black guys, too, to some extent.
Sure.
Probably not as many women. Just guessing.
Okay.
They're in Brooks and Asics. Anyway, so they know who their audience is, and they're going to appeal to their audience. The fact that you don't see double digits decline in Nike stock in a day after the Just Burn It campaign, where Republicans see hear that a black man's going to be in a shoe ad, and they begin burning and rending their own clothing. I mean, cutting Nike symbols out. It's really, it's biblical, for God's sake.
How many steps? And I haven't seen.
They're doing everything but rubbing ash in their hair.
Have you watched any of the videos of the burnings?
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of people cutting up their clothing.
Okay. I'm just curious to know, what are they saying? Are they cursing Colin Kaepernick while they do it?
It's all about Colin Kaepernick, yes.
What is the difference between burning clothing that is associated with Colin Kaepernick and burning a life-size, replica of Colin Kaepernick, an effigy of Colin Kaepernick? Is there a slight difference there? And if so, how slight? Because it doesn't seem like much of a difference to me.
I think that it's all about the visuals. It's all about the narrative. And if you begin burning giant papier-mâché black men, you're going to be putting holes in your own sail.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. Isn't this just a substitute for that? Like, isn't burning Nike's logos and T-shirts and things like that essentially just one step removed from actually setting fire to an effigy of Colin Kaepernick?
This is intent. This is people that have tasted victory. They've tasted the blood of their enemies and their own jowls. It drips in the saliva from their jaws. They're like, we have gotten the NFL to blackball Colin Kaepernick, and by God, we're going to make Nike do it too. And I got news for you. No, you're not. You are part of the marketing mechanism that is going to drive Nike stock upward in the next quarter.
So Nike hasn't apologized for this then?
I have not heard anything of that sort. Let me finish this in case see if there's a. I don't think that there's any comment from Nike on this at all.
Right.
Nike shares slipped as much as 3.9% to $79 as of 9:30 a.m. You should, Johnson, check that and see how much further it's gone since there. Tuesday in New York, the biggest intraday slide in 5 months. They had climbed 31% this year to Friday's close. The fallout was no surprise, but Nike may be betting that the upside of Kaepernick's endorsement is worth angering conservative Americans and supporters of Donald Trump. Kaepernick.
Nike stock is currently at $79.60.
So it's up just a little from there?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so not quite the 3% that you said is probably closer.
Well, 3.16%.
Down today?
Currently, yep.
Okay, great. So 3% was closer than the 3.9 that I had said. So.
I got to say, I like Colin Kaepernick's post here, which is probably what upset people. It's a picture of his face, and it's his face fills the frame, and underneath his eyes, it's written, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything."
Yeah,
that's great, man. That's really
It's a nice,
emotional,
it's a nice,
motivating
piece.
post.
Again, I do not agree entirely with, although I think Black Lives Matter, I do not entirely agree with this whole Black Lives Matter protest movement, because they have a whole list of things that that have been listed.
Is he officially part of Black Lives Matter? Or was he just
official?
Or was just
that's the difficulty.
Well, you said they have a list, which suggests that some
people
organization
who have claimed to be Black Lives Matter have issued a whole list of socialist crap.
But you don't know whether or not Colin Kaepernick is associated with or a signatory to that list.
No, I don't. But I can say that Colin Kaepernick could have, could have probably united people against unchecked government.
Police aggression.
Rampant, police aggression, but
he kept it just to blacks. Is that what his protest was?
I think he could have. I think that more could have been done personally to include people.
Yeah,
but nonetheless,
I think it's important to do that.
It's easy to sit back when you're not the one protesting,
right?
And that's what I do. I sit back and I critique other people's protests, and it's a crappy position to be in, but it's what I do.
Well, no, I tend to agree with you. If Kaepernick was against all police abuse, and maybe he is, but maybe he just only focused on blacks, or maybe he only is concerned about blacks. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I haven't talked to him. I'm not going to.
I'd like to have him on the show.
You're welcome to invite him on. I would love to have that conversation. But yeah, because police abuse happens to everybody. It happens to, well, I mean, most likely it's going to happen to people in poorer strata.
Right.
And that includes whites, it includes Hispanics, it includes Asians, it includes, men, women, it includes children, young people.
Not women, no. That's the one thing that you can...
not women.
Pretty much not women.
We just talked about a story the other night where a cop took a woman down a dark alley and a dark dirt road and tried to force himself on her. When it comes to police
statistics, you do not want to be male.
Okay, but women have absolutely been abused. There was one woman who had her orifices violated on the side of the road. More coming up here.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dynovite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Buycott no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Just dial in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We're talking about police abuse, sort of tangentially, but what brought it up was Colin Kaepernick is once again in the news with apparently a Burn Nike or Just Burn It campaign
Just Burn It, yeah.
going on. And I really ought to pull up one of these videos to see what the content is like. I presume there are videos out there. Angry sports fans are setting a fire. Their Nike memorabilia, their Nike shoes and T-shirts and such, because they are mad that Nike has teamed up with Colin Kaepernick for an advertising campaign where it shows Kaepernick's face in a black and white kind of artsy photo, and it says "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." And I think a lot of them a lot of these people who are angry about this, they would probably describe themselves as Christians, and that's basically what Jesus did, if I recall correctly. So they certainly
Jesus
should be
stood up to the power structure, that's for sure.
Yeah, they certainly should be behind the messaging of this campaign, but they don't like it when you stand up to their favorite power structure, the government.
Look, if somebody's standing up for something they believe in and what they believe in is crap, then I'm not particularly going to be, I suppose I'll defend their right to do it, but I've defended Kaepernick's right all along. For me,
but you're not joining a protest. Even though you might disagree on or quibble with maybe he only talked about blacks being abused by the police. As you said, you would like to interview him, and I support you on that. Ultimately, it is the police that are abusing all different types, shapes and sizes and colors of people, and that's what really needs to be brought to the forefront. So maybe he didn't do as good of a job as you would have if you were in his position, but for him, this was something that meant something.
Nobody ever does a protest as well as the protest that you imagine in your own mind.
Yeah. So people are mad.
And the other thing that's always worth mentioning when it comes to protests is people hate protesters.
They sure do.
If you look at statistics that protesters themselves just elicit the ire of people. I don't know. I haven't figured out the cultural phenomenon that's behind it, because I either agree or disagree, and maybe I disagree with points and things like that. But ultimately, I don't just hate somebody because they're standing on the side of the road with a sign, but a lot of people do.
A lot of people do. And
it's because I think that a lot of people are a bunch of cowards and they will not stand up for what they believe in.
Well, and they don't really want to be bothered, right? They're busy. They're going through their day. They don't want to have to think about an issue. They don't want to have to address something that's put in front of them. This is not what they want to spend their time on.
It confronts them with something that's important to them that they're not willing to stand up and take the time on. I mean, what do you call that but cowardice?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not important to them, but either way, I mean, there's a chance that they would be driving by that protest and they would disagree on the reason why they're protesting. Maybe some people support police abuse, and some people, and I suspect they do. We've definitely had police state authoritarians call this show and defend the police, and it seems like the police can do no wrong to some people. As long as they haven't had their family members beaten up by the cops, then it's a convenient thing to ignore. And protesters are inconvenient because they, to some extent, force an issue, and or at the very least, they make it so you can't avoid that issue. You're driving by, you see them, and you may have an opinion when you see them about that. And that's the purpose of it. And I have to agree with you, Mark. I think that I experienced this recently here in Keene, New Hampshire, where we do this show from. It's a city in the southwestern corner of New Hampshire. They, at the city council level, have had a proposal made to increase the smoking age, meaning that, and also the vaping age. So any sort of nicotine-related use and
this
possession.
Isn't just the possession. This is
sale and possession.
Sale. Yeah, this isn't just. This isn't just about buying tobacco, because in America, or at least most of the places that I'm familiar with, you can a person under the 18 can possess tobacco items. They simply cannot buy them, which I guess means that parents.
Not in Keene, not in New Hampshire.
Not in Keene.
In New Hampshire, I believe the rule is 6. No. If you are under the age of 18 and you possess, you can get a ticket.
Okay.
If you're 16 and a cop spots you smoking, he can take the cigarettes and he can issue you a ticket, from what I understand.
So they're also going to raise the age at which, in Keene, someone can register to serve in the military, right? And to join the police, because their job is so dangerous, right? They're always risking their lives, right? That's what they like you to believe. So they're going to raise those ages too, because you're not allowed as a young person.
Are you coming to the meeting to comment? Because you ought to make that comment to the city council. But what I wanted to bring that up for, in relation to this whole conversation about protesters, was there's a guy who runs a local vape store, and he's obviously concerned about this, right? Because he's got a financial interest. He's got customers who are between the ages of 18 and 21, and they're talking about raising the age to 21. And so he sent out a text message. So he's built he's a business person. He's smart. He's got himself an email list or a text message list.
Yeah.
So normally I would presume he's sending out information about a sale at the vape shop. So he sends out a message to the list, and our very own Will Coley from the Call to Freedom is on that list. He received the message saying there's going to be a protest in Central Square, which is the Central Park here, a common area in New Hampshire. There's going to be a protest from 1 to 4 o'clock. Unfortunately, it was scheduled during the week, so probably not a good time, because if he wants college students to attend, even if they wanted to attend, they probably wouldn't be able to do so in the middle of the day. But regardless of the time it was scheduled for, he scheduled what he called a protest from 1 to 4 in Central Square. So we got wind of it. And of course, a lot of our hosts here on Free Talk Live, we like a good pro-freedom protest. So some folks came out. Chris Wade from Think Penguin was there, and Daryl W. Perry. And I also came out and was disappointed to see there wasn't really a protest going on, at least not that I would describe a protest. I had actually brought out, and admittedly, I was running late, but it was a large window, and so I was still within the time window. I brought out some blank poster board and, Sharpies, big Sharpies for people to use to create some quickie, signs for the protest, presuming that, I know a thing or two about protests, right? I've done a lot of them
you do.
over my time. And I know that if you're going to do a protest and you're an organizer of that protest, it really is your responsibility to bring signage. Now, ideally, you should have your signage made out in advance. That way you can just bring pre-made signs that people can hold, and because a person, if they show up to a protest, probably will not be prepared. They're not likely to bring their own sign. They might, and that's great if they do. But if they don't bring their own sign, they need something to do. And if you've got signs, you can just provide them a sign. Then they can hold a sign and they feel good. They feel like they're part of the protest, and they didn't really have to lift a finger beyond driving, or walking to the protest area. So I arrive at this protest, and there's not a single person standing.
Protest.
There's not a single person standing by the side of the road.
I spit on your protest.
No, it's not to look down my nose at it, Mark. It's to talk, to call it what it is. It was a gathering. It was a meeting. There were about 7 or 8 people that were there, but they were just hanging around the bandstand, which is kind of in the middle of the park.
No, they communicated nothing to anyone.
Yeah, there was nobody who was walking by. Not even somebody who was just simply walking through the park would have known that there was any kind of an event going on. Certainly nothing that would qualify as a protest, which normally your protest is, the purpose is to reach out to people.
Yep.
The purpose is to reach out to people who you don't know.
So why did the gentleman have 7 people there and no protest?
Well, I asked him about that because I kind of joked with him. I said, I'm sitting there holding signs, and I offered, because I figured out immediately who the person sort of in charge was. I found out who the owner of this business was there. And I said, hey, I brought some sign-making materials. Would you guys like to use them? And he actually declined and said that he wasn't intending to have that kind of an event here. And I said, well, it's not a protest if you don't have signs. And he said, well, he just wanted to meet with people, and he was hoping that there would be a lot more people that would come out. I think he was expecting a large portion of the college population to attend.
Yeah, people imagine they can do that.
Yeah, more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
If you like alkaline water, or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dylan Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dylan bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dylan bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dylan bottle today at dyln.co. That's dyln.co.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Shortly after members of the New York Police Department found a super sharp Buck brand pocket knife earlier this morning, Lieutenant Joseph Mattioli spoke to Onion reporters at the scene of the discovery to update the public on this potentially deadly blade.
At 8:40 a.m., police discovered what seems to be a pretty badass buck knife. Investigators believe it to be basically the deadliest knife ever.
Mattioli confirmed that the pretty cool wood-handled knife has a clean edge and added that the blade must be, quote, at least like 8 inches long.
At this time, we'd like everyone to be aware that there's probably a man out there with an eye patch and scars all over his face that has access to these knives, or maybe even a samurai sword. We urge people to be careful when approaching him because he may flip out and chop both your arms off before you even realize it.
Following the announcement, Mattioli asked people to come forward if they had any information about the owner of the knife or if they just wanted to hold it for a couple of seconds. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and bring up what you want. We've been talking about Colin Kaepernick and apparently a protest where people are setting their Nike clothing and shoes ablaze because they're mad that Nike has teamed up with Colin Kaepernick. You're welcome to comment on that, or protests in general, which is what we were discussing a moment ago. And I actually wanted to tell you about LibertyMinded.com since we were discussing police abuse. Johnson, just last night, copblock.org has a featured article, even though Copblock isn't the premier police accountability site anymore. It used to be. And so some people still do look at it. Right there at the top of copblock.org, you will see the brand new shirt that we discussed, I think, last week on Free Talk Live. You're the proprietor over at libertyminded.com. It's a freedom-friendly, crypto-friendly T-shirt and other clothing kind of company. And you are always adding new content. This one is a very, let's call it incendiary T-shirt that is, from a distance, it looks like it's a police badge, but when you get up close, you can see it's actually very, very critical of the police, and that is now being featured over at copblock.org.
And I'm running an incendiary sale as well. Instead of
a fire sale.
Well, yeah, just a really short sale, but instead of a Labor Day sale, they decided to run a get back to work sale.
Nice.
Basically... thumbing my nose a little bit at the celebration of union law.
Well, Labor Day is so annoying because nobody wants to work, and it's like, I want to get stuff done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that.
I'm happy to have the day off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind necessarily having a day off, but, I don't like the fact that it's forced, a holiday that was originally forced by union labor laws. So... and I don't like the celebration of these union laws.
So you didn't shut down for Labor Day, then?
No,
You were still taking orders.
It's an online business. But definitely taking orders, and I'm running a sale. That sale is briefly for Free Talk Live hoodies. So just in time to get them for the cooler weather coming our way
soon.
Yep, and I've discounted it fairly heavily and gave an additional discount for people who have subscribed to my email list, who will get discount notifications first. Now that extra 15% discount brings the total discount on the hoodies right now to 50%. So
if you were on the email list.
This is a big discount.
If you're not on the email list, it's about 40% off. Though.
That's right.
So still a pretty big discount.
On
what item?
This
though?
Doesn't both of the hoodies, the Free Talk Live hoodies.
Free Talk Live officially branded merchandise hoodies. I mean, in both
the ones with the zipper.
with and without.
Okay. Yellow and black, or is it just black?
Yes. There's black and gold in the pullover style hoodies. There's only black in the zipper style hoodies because the print is a little bit more complicated.
What's the name of the site again?
Two colors.
LibertyMinded.com.
And I accept several different forms of cryptocurrency.
Nice. This is how long? How limited? How long does this sale last?
This sale is ending tonight, so if you're hearing it on the podcast, it's too late. However, like I said, I gave that 15% additional discount for people who are on the email list. I will do this discount one day again, let's say in September, right?
Okay.
For people who are on my email list only. I want to announce it.
So what you're saying is, if you're listening to the podcast and you're hearing this, and you're like, "Crap, I wanted to get 50% off."
I'm going to give them a chance to do it this month.
Yeah.
So this month, so it won't even be that far away. So
go and get on the email list.
You have to go get on the email list
right now.
And here's a bonus: if you wanted to get something else today, or you wanted to get the hoodies today, it's not quite as big of a discount. But I do give a 10% discount code immediately upon signing up for the email list.
All
So
right.
if you haven't signed up for the email list already, you can get 10% on top of the store discount that's already there.
And that's 10% off anything on the site.
Right.
So if you want to knock 10% off the Thin Blue Line T-shirt, you can do that with that.
It's 10% off your entire order, that first order that you place.
I just signed up.
There you
So
go.
there you go.
LibertyMinded.com. Check out the new Thin Blue Line T-shirt. Also, the Come and Toke It is brand new as well, which is really cool.
Got a couple intellectual property shirts that I've
there's some really smart shirts on there. I think you're gonna like it. Once again, it's LibertyMinded.com. So we were talking about protests and the situation that happened here in Keene, where there was a so-called protest, but they didn't actually want to have any signs, which I think speaks to what you were saying, Mark. I mean, now he didn't specifically say he was afraid of what people might think, right? Like when I asked him about, well, why don't you want, I offered signs to the people at this protest, was to oppose the smoking ban or the age restrictions for smoking being increased here in Keene. And when I asked him about it, he just sort of explained that he just wanted to hang out and meet people, right? Like to talk to people who are interested about the issue, which, again, that's not a protest. It's a gathering. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a protest if you're not actually trying to reach out to people who didn't know about your event.
He's probably just, it's embarrassing, especially being the organizer of a protest. It's just embarrassing. It's putting yourself out there. And then if it didn't go the way he wanted,
which was he wanted way more people to show up.
Right.
He was disappointed with.
So he's disappointed
the
and
8
embarrassed.
people who were there.
If he was, if 100 people had shown up, he'd probably been a little more excited, and his excitement would have overcompensated for his embarrassment. But it is tough to put yourself out there.
But even if 100 people had shown up, I mean, if 100 people show up, some people probably would have been prescient enough to bring their own signs, I presume, if you had 100 people show. But if nobody had brought signs, he still wouldn't have had a protest, right? If 100 people had just been hanging around in Central Square talking, that's still not a protest.
Well, they would have been able to do mindless chants.
They could have. They could have, but odds are if this guy's not interested in leading a sign holding, he's probably not going to start doing chants either.
Right.
So that's all. I was just speculating, Mark. I'm thinking, well, maybe one of the reasons, maybe there's an undercurrent here of I don't want to do a protest, not because I'm just embarrassed because there's only 8 people, because to me, that's a good turnout. Like I said to him, I said, you got this many people to show up? I think this is good. This would be it would be fine if you had 7 or 8 people on the side of the road holding signs. That's noticeable. That's a group of people that are at an event. So I just feel like maybe there's some sort of an undercurrent level of he didn't want to be a protester. He really didn't want to be seen like that. So anyway, that was just my speculation. We were talking about Colin Kaepernick and people who are protesting by burning things that are associated with Nike shoes, Nike athletic gear. Let's go first, though, to your calls and thoughts. Tom is on the line in the Dominican Republic, listening online. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, it's about the issue of the passports and how some people with Texas birth certificates are being suddenly told that, your birth certificate is no good because that might have been fraudulently filed. There was a story in the Washington Post on August 30th about this. And it gets even worse because they're talking about how the State Department revoked some passports that haven't even expired yet, and that some people have been stuck in Mexico, or they go across the border and they're into the United States and their passport gets confiscated because it's been revoked, and now they can't go back into Mexico either, so they go into a detention center.
Well,
And
that's
it
not
goes on
my
to
understanding
say-
of how it works. If are you talking about people who are U.S. citizens or people? Because will they issue a passport to somebody who's not a citizen?
People with United States passports who have these Texas birth certificates that have been called into question, and they're not even notified to show up in court and contest this or have any due process. They just the State Department goes ahead and revokes their passport. But then
I see what you're saying, because what I was going to say was, if you want to go back into the United States, you can usually do that without a passport, but they would like to see, and if you have a birth certificate, they would like to see that, but you don't even have to have that. You just have to kind of assert that you are that you live in the United States, that you're a citizen or whatever, and then they, after giving you a lecture, will usually let you back in. But I can see what you're saying. If they're actually saying, we don't believe your birth certificate is valid, that may be their excuse for holding somebody in detention indefinitely.
Now,
that's scary.
Let me get to my point here, though, is that it gets the Washington Post goes on to talk about some of these people who've lived in the United States all their lives, and they've even served in the armed forces. And the hilarious thing is, they go on to say, or in the United States Border Patrol. United States Border Patrol goons getting a taste of their own medicine. They thought it could never happen to them. They thought they're better than everybody else. They thought those other people, they're children of a lesser God, and now it's getting thrown right back in their faces.
The state will turn on its own sometimes, and it can be entertaining to watch that happen. Thank you, Tom, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. To everybody else, though, that's a victim of that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that that's happening to them. More coming up here in moments. 855, 450, free like freedom. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life. Pick up 2 tubes of Dogosuds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Dogosud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Dogosuds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free if you want. You can join us here on the radio waves and take control of those airwaves. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We also have the Discord on-air call-in lines, which you can join over at discord.lrn.fm, and bitcoin.com, longtime sponsor here on Free Talk Live. Want you to know about Save It Purse. You go to saveatpurse.com and you can save big time on your purchases at Amazon. I presume you can buy Nike shoes through Amazon. We're talking about the Nike protest going on here, the so-called Just Burn It campaign online with people burning their Nike products. But if you want to support Nike, that might be one way to do it. But also save 20% or more in some cases. You can save 25%, 30%. It's all possible, 33% being the maximum savings over at saveitpurse.com. Now, Purse does take a chunk of it for their own selves, for providing you with the service. And by the way, their customer service has always been great. On the few times that I've actually needed customer service, I've always felt like they've done a good job over at saveatpurse.com. The catch is, to get 20, 30% off, somewhere in that range, is you have to use cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin Cash. BCH, Bitcoin Cash, is welcome as the deposit currency over at saveitpurse.com. And basically the idea is you're selling your Bitcoin Cash to somebody who wants to buy, and you don't sell it directly to them. The site sort of
at
is
a steep markup or discount, depending on how you look at it.
Well, it's for you. You get the item you want at a 20% discount. The person is paying 20% on top of the cost of a Bitcoin in order to get your Bitcoin, or in this case, Bitcoin Cash, which is now available over at saveitpurse.com. So if you want to save big time, and I heartily endorse Save It Purse. They don't pay us to endorse them, but I'm a user of Save It Purse, and I use it constantly and consistently. There's almost no time in the last 3 years when I have ordered normally through Amazon. I always go through Save It Purse, saveatpurse.com. And again, they're now accepting Bitcoin Cash, BCH. So I did pull up one of these videos here of some guy burning his pair, actually what appears to be more than one pair of, these are different Twitter videos that are showing here people setting their Nike shoes aflame.
Are they in them? Because that's dedication.
No, they're not in them, but they are burning them. They're cutting off the logos, apparently, from some of their clothing. And
because your clothes are going to look so good with a giant hole in them. I mean, I suppose if you...
It could start a conversation.
If you had an embroidered Nike logo on some clothes and you went with what they call the thread puller,
stitch remover.
Thread cutter, stitch remover, yeah, that thing, and you took it out, then okay, I mean, you've got more time than I do, but all right.
Yeah, no, this looks like there's some guy holding the logos off of a pair of Nike socks. It just looks like he just cut out the top portions of his socks in not a very attractive manner.
I guess he was really dedicated there.
These people are really mad. One guy says he's going to buy Adidas instead of Nike now.
Okay.
So you don't feel like this is going to matter, Mark, in the
no,
long run?
I don't. And
can boycotts ever be a success? Because a lot of times there are boycotts that respond to boycotts.
Right. That's the thing is
sorry, Johnson.
Well, Yep, and that's what I found out today. Speaking of Buycott, I found out that New Balance is a heavily owned Republican company where the owner made several donations in 2016 to the Trump campaign.
So there's a protest going on against New Balance by liberals?
No, there's a Buycott. Essentially, it's
I see.
Ditch Nike, buy New Balance.
Oh, I see. Normally when I think of a boycott, I think of it as a response to a boycott, meaning that not that the people who are boycotting are boycotting New Balance, but the people who want to counter the boycott against Nike would then form a boycott for Nike to support Nike in these tough times.
It's just funny because I find that I'm learning things because actually, and this is just personal experience, it's not because of, political motivation or whatever. I just find it funny because a couple of years ago I bought some Nike sneakers to comfortable. They looked kind of like I like the Airwalk style of shoe, like kind of the skater shoes, comfortable. And I had bought those from Nike and they fell apart within a month.
Wow.
And I was just I was like, this is garbage. I was very upset because they were expensive shoes too. They were like more expensive. I'm like, but they look nice. I like them, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy these. They were really comfy. Tried them on, walked around the store, but then they just completely fell apart.
Wow.
Like knockoff garbage. But I bought them in store, and so they were real Nike shoes. And
big disappointment.
Yeah, big disappointment. And I usually get and have switched immediately back to New Balance. So I was kind of chuckling to myself hearing all this news about telling people to switch from Nike to New Balance because it's exactly what I did. So, but without any political motivation.
My thought on this is that you should buy the shoes you want to buy, and you should eat the sandwich you want to eat. I did not choose to not buy at Chick-fil-A or buy at Chick-fil-A based on their policies on...
Don't talk about Chick-fil-A.
I know, it's so delicious. Hungry. It's so good. Their policies on gay people and their delicious, delicious sandwiches.
The Nashua Chick-fil-A actually broke ranks, and they sponsored the Gay and Lesbian Pride Fest.
That's, again, I don't care. I think
if you really want to protest, you should get a couple of straps of leather and get yourself some fillets of chicken and strap them to your feet.
Yeah, that'll
your new shoes.
Then everybody will know exactly where you stand on two chickens' breasts. So I am wearing New Balance at this time. I would be interested in a Colin Kaepernick jersey.
Really?
I looked online. I couldn't find one in my size right now.
I wonder if they're collector's items.
Everything says youth on Amazon. So I don't know if that means that's just one of the sizes they're offering. I didn't take really, really close look or anything, but I'd be interested. I'd wear a Colin Kaepernick jersey on camera.
To start a conversation with people
here, but I'm not getting rid of my New Balance. None of this. I don't want to play these games. I just, I think the guy is kind of standing up for something I'm with.
But you were criticizing him earlier, saying he should have gone further, that he only talked, you believe he only talked about blacks being killed by police, when, of course, people of all shapes, sizes, and colors are killed by police. But you would still be willing to wear a jersey with his name on it, even though he only got the protest kind of half right?
He's willing to stand up for something, and he's taken a lot of heat. This is a great quarterback. All right, and I don't care what anybody says. This is a great. He's not Joe Montana great, but he's a good quarterback, and he deserves to play. And the fact that he's being taken out because he has an opinion is really crappy. That's not the way this is supposed to be. The fact that the U.S. military made a buy in a big advertising buy in the NFL, that doesn't confront him or any of the other players. So I just disagree with the way he's been treated more than anything.
Quick Google shopping search, Mark, reveals the second result is a men's San Francisco 49ers number 7 Colin Kaepernick red-stitched jersey.
Okay.
So
that's a Google search. That wasn't a Amazon search.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Google shopping.
I like to get my discounts.
Sure, but if you can't get it, you can't get it.
I like to go through saveitfirst.com.
I understand, but if you can't get it, you can't get it. And if you really wanted a jersey, I'm just letting you know. They are available. $37.99 from eCrater.
I have just talked on the radio about it. Somebody's going to send me one, Ian. Be serious.
You think so?
Possibly.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
People
okay.
like me better than you.
Well, I don't ask people for things, and I don't need, I don't want your stuff. So please don't send things to me. I want to make it clear, I don't want stuff. If I get stuff from people, I usually am like put off. It's like, well, I didn't ask for this. Now I've got this thing I've got to deal with.
But you're sitting here without a shirt on. You quite literally need a shirt.
No, actually, I don't need a shirt. There's one right over there, and it's too hot in New Hampshire right now. So for me, it's Topless Tuesdays today.
Yeah, the temperature is the only thing hot in here, pal.
Okay, thanks for that. Anyway, so what were we talking about here? Is there more to say on this protest? I mean, we barely kind of got into the story. I don't know if there was really anything else besides some Republicans or state supporters are angry.
Going on, Nike may be betting, this is from Bloomberg, may be betting that the upside of the Kaepernick endorsement is worth angering conservative Americans and supporters of Donald Trump. Kaepernick, who sparked a movement among professional athletes when he began taking a knee in 2016 during the anthem to protest police brutality against African Americans, is embroiled in a lawsuit against the National Football League and accuses it of blacklisting him, which sounds right. Still, with the former 49er of one of the most popular football players in the U.S., the shoe giant is likely counting on passions to cool. The long-term relationship and contract that benefits both parties over the next 10 years will likely outweigh any current controversies, said Bloomberg intelligence analyst Chen
sounds like he's right on this. I mean,
Chen's got a mother. That's why I mentioned his name.
They are in the long game here, Nike, and good for them.
Yep. Kaepernick tweeted an image from the campaign with the caption, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." That's the one you liked.
It's a great slogan.
Nike is in a fierce battle with rival Adidas AG to sign star athletes. The combined marketing spending of the two companies may reach as much as $10 billion by fiscal 2020.
All right, if you want to join us here on the radio, you can. Coming up, we'll talk about positive liberty. Johnson's got a piece on what that actually means, because it's hard to really say just at a glance what positive liberty is, what's negative liberty. I think we'll talk about all that coming up in hour number 2, and you can take control of the airwaves.
Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Get relief for your neck or back pain when you search Amazon for Sunshine Pillows, heating wraps, and pads, often listed as an Amazon choice.
Why take another pill?
Now, from Sunny Bay and by customer demand, we introduce our extra long neck heating wrap, a complete wrap, wide and hands-free, and brings fast relief to those who suffer from neck or back pain.
You can easily find Sunshine Pillows on Amazon.
Or search Amazon for our new Sunny Bay disposable heat pads. Or look for Sunny Bay heated neck wraps for relief from back pain to menstrual pain and cramps.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
See why our company, Biomed DB Design, has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Just go to Amazon.com and search Sunny Bay, or call us 253-678-1361.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,195 per ounce. Zen is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,373. Antiwar.com reports in a new tweet on Monday, President Trump warned Syria against attacking the rebels in Idlib province. He also warned Iran and Russia against participating in any such attack if it happens. Trump insisted the Russians and Iranians would be making a grave humanitarian mistake to take part in this potential human tragedy, saying that hundreds of thousands of people could be killed. Though Syria has not confirmed any specifics, it is believed that they are preparing to attempt to expel the rebels from Idlib, including the al-Qaeda-dominated faction, which UN officials say has 10,000 designed terrorists fighting within. Others estimate that overall some 70,000 fighters are within the province, and the densely populated area could indeed lead to large civilian death tolls in the fighting. The U.S. opposition is particularly noteworthy, however, because recent offensives against other densely populated cities and provinces, like Deir ez-Zor and Mosul, saw not only U.S. endorsement but direct U.S. participation. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports a woman is dead after jumping out of a moving ambulance on a Northern California freeway. The California Highway Patrol said the woman, whose name had not been released pending notification of next of kin, got out of her restraints and overpowered an EMT before exiting the ambulance. She was then struck by multiple oncoming cars and died from the injuries, according to CHP officer Josh Roberts. Paramedics were taking the woman to the John George Psychiatric Hospital in San Leandro, California, after she got into an altercation with police in Pleasanton. According to the Mercury News, police responded to a call of a woman driving recklessly and hitting several cars, as well as a pedestrian, at around 2 a.m. Monday morning. During their attempt to apprehend the woman, 2 police officers used their taser to subdue her. After restraining the woman, she was taken to a hospital for a routine medical evaluation before paramedics attempted to take her to a psychiatric hospital. Roberts said investigators are looking into how the woman was able to get out of the ambulance. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Gordon whipped the southern tip of Florida with high winds and rain on Monday and was expected to make landfall as a hurricane along the central U.S. Gulf Coast on Tuesday night, according to the National Hurricane Center. The storm is currently forecast to come ashore late on Tuesday near the border between Louisiana and Mississippi and drop as much as 8 inches of rain in some areas of the U.S. South, still reeling from hurricanes a year ago. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency, saying 200 Louisiana National Guardsmen were being deployed, along with 63 high water trucks, 39 boats, and 4 helicopters. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency warned of storm surges between 3 and 5 feet and told residents of South Mississippi to prepare to evacuate. The National Hurricane Center said Gordon was generating winds of 50 miles per hour on Monday as it steamed west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. By Monday afternoon, the storm had passed over Florida's southern tip. There were no reports of any injuries or deaths or damages to buildings, according to Alberto Moscoso, a spokesman for the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Last year, powerful hurricanes walloped Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, causing thousands of deaths, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage, massive power outages, and devastation to hundreds of thousands of structures. At the mouth of the Mississippi River, around the area of New Orleans, the storm could generate a surge of up to 4 feet, and smaller surges could hit coastland along other parts of the Gulf Coast. The U.S. Coast Guard also warned that the ports of New Orleans, as well as Gulfport and Pascagoula, Mississippi, may have to close within 48 hours when gale force winds from Gordon are expected to arrive. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The victims of a devastating tornado expressed gratitude that The Onion's 3-part series on the disaster was reported with fairness, accuracy, and an unusual degree of sensitivity. Survivors said they were at least thankful for one thing, that The Onion put much more care and insight into their reporting of the tragedy than any competing newspaper, by far. In economic news, a Pulitzer Prize would very much help certain newspapers increase their circulation, resulting in greater ad sales and more revenue to pay their tireless, hardworking reporters, all of whom have families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Just dial in toll-free to join us. The number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can still comment on the protests that have erupted on the internet, at least, about people burning their Nike shoes and cutting out the Nike logos from their clothing because they're mad because Nike apparently has teamed up with Colin Kaepernick for a motivational Nike ad campaign. You're certainly welcome to comment there. I actually just posted the photo to our social media, Twitter, and the Mastodon account. Our new Mastodon, by the way, you can go and check that out over at toot.freetalklive.com. That'll take you right to our Mastodon account.
You're pretty into that too, right?
I like Mastodon. I think it's a great platform. It is a decentralized version of Twitter. And as you know, Twitter has, and these other platforms, Facebook and the rest, have been banning people they don't like, banning people for having political viewpoints that they don't agree with or that are unpopular. And so Mastodon is decentralized, which means that there are different servers that you can join, and each server can have its own set of rules as to what they allow or disallow, and each server can decide which other servers to what they call federate with, to join up, to kind of connect to. So even though I'm on the Liberdon server, I can still see what's going on other servers on the Mastodon network and other people that have accounts there. So I'm liking it. Go check it out at toot.freetalklive.com if you want to see that picture of Colin Kaepernick in the Nike advertisement. It's also on our Twitter, and for those of you still on Facebook, it should have made the trip over there too. All right, so we can talk about what you want here. Johnson, you had a more philosophical piece tonight about so-called positive liberty. And this is a term that has come up before on Free Talk Live, and if I recall correctly, there's also negative liberty.
That's right.
And the definitions aren't what you would think they would be.
Sure. It's something we don't cover enough, I don't think. I think talking philosophically about liberty is important because, people seem to be losing touch with this.
Well, people are tuning in all the time too, and
there's always new people.
Whatever it was that we're talking about.
It's not positive liberty and negative liberty. The way they've always been defined here on the air.
Who doesn't want positive stuff?
Right. It seems it's counterintuitive. Like when I hear, I don't want to be in favor of something negative, but apparently the definition is the negative liberties are the things in which you're to be left alone for. Right. Like if you have a negative liberty, it means your right to bear arms shall not be infringed. That's a negative liberty, whereas positive liberties have been described as forcing somebody to provide you with a thing like a right to health care. That's how it's been described to me.
Maybe. So the debate here, this article is from Reason.com, says that positive liberty isn't true liberty. That's the debate.
Okay.
And then the question asked here by Brian Doherty in this article, and so the article is by Brian Doherty and Samuel Hammond, is the right to be left alone sufficient?
Because to me, that's all liberty ever has been, is the freedom to live your life how you want. When I first heard these terms, positive and negative liberties, I found them confusing and off-putting because I don't
like the idea that somebody's coming in and redefining whatever I call liberty.
Yeah, and I don't like the idea.
But I'm interested in hearing what they have to say. Maybe I'll be convinced otherwise.
Right. I mean, I don't like the idea that forced providing of health care or forced providing of education taxpayer forced funding is somehow being defined as a liberty. But I guess that somebody like our caller, a longtime caller, Greg from New York, he would say, well, it is a liberty. You're free from having to pay for health care. You're free from having to, in theory, right? You're free from having to worry about getting health care. And I don't know if that's what they're defining it as.
Well, further, Jefferson, who is one of the founders of these Enlightenment ideas and would be called, classical liberal, which is on the continuum of liberty, would have said that you can't understand liberty unless you're educated. So you can't even know what the definition is unless you have a certain level of education, and so whatever he defines education as, it's important to have.
I wonder if any modern American would qualify for that.
Well, and I also don't think that you can call, like, even if you were to accept what Greg was saying, and again, I'm using Greg as an example because he's the person who most advocates these ideas, to call something like that liberty, to call the fact that you're getting this so-called free healthcare or free school liberty is inaccurate, because you're still forcing somebody else to provide that thing. So if somebody else is not free in order for you to be free of a worry or free of want, then it's not liberty, because liberty has to be across the board. You have to allow others to be free in order to have freedom yourself, or at least to have this negative liberty.
Right. So
concept.
Somebody has to be, in order for you to get an education, somebody has to pay for it. And
provide it.
And mostly the people who provide it are doing so willingly, right? There's not many people who are. I would argue that government school teachers are often held there by their pensions and benefits, so they're kind of unwilling in that way. But they come to work every day willingly.
Sure.
So it's really about the funding. The problem with the funding is that people who don't have kids are forced into this pool of government education, the forced funding of the worst school in a given grade in a given geographic area. So they have to pay for the worst school in an area rather than sending money to the best school or not sending money to a school at all. People who send their kids to private schools are now being forced to pay for their kids' education and other kids' education at the worst school in a given geographic area. In the case of my son being homeschooled, money's fungible. Every dollar you take from our household is a dollar that could be spent on his education.
Yeah.
So you are, in fact, robbing my son's education in order to educate other people's kids at other schools. Look, my only vehicle registered in my name is a 2002 F-350. I'm willing to bet that the teachers and the parents of the kids at those government schools are driving nicer cars.
I've seen the parking lot. It looks pretty.
They're doing just fine. They don't need to be robbed. You don't need to rob people to make this organization work.
All right, Johnson, what's the story, and where was it from? Reason?
It's from Reason, yeah, and I'm not sure your definitions here on this are necessarily accurate, at least not.
They may not be. That's just my recollection of them over the years.
The article goes on to say, political and ethical philosophers have expended millions of words trying to suss out what liberty means and how it should best and most coherently be conceptualized, and by what rules and institutions it is best secured. A decent summation of the purpose of political libertarianism is to limit unjust interference in people's lives and choices. By that standard, the only liberty consistently defendable is negative liberty. Negative liberty means being able to make choices and pursue goals free from active interference via force or threat from humans or human institutions.
Okay.
Positive liberty is what you actually have the means to do. If you lack the ability to take an action, such as travel, receive a certain type of education, or even eat, your positive liberty is restricted. But guaranteeing positive liberty requires making someone else provide it. So yeah, I think you guys are pretty spot on.
I see.
Demanding anything from another person.
That is a subtle difference, and I'm glad you pointed it out.
This is why I've always said the right to travel stuff is not consistent with my understanding of the ideas of liberty. Because somebody has to pay for the road.
Right.
Well, somebody will pay for the road. If the government's not around paying for it, the businesses that are on it or neighborhoods or whoever wants you to get to where they are is going to pay for that road.
Right.
What if I'm the property owner? I just decide I don't want that road there.
Well, then you're going to need to get a better vehicle that's going to be able to travel over rougher terrain. But you still have the right to travel.
You don't have to be welcoming to people at your house.
Where are you going to travel? I mean, in a world that has where roads can be immediately taken away by an abutting property owner.
Well, vehicles with treads will be much more common.
The kind of people who you're talking about are the kind of people who want to live out at the end of a road, out in the middle of nowhere, and not be near people. The odds that somebody is going to just destroy a road in front of their house when they themselves are probably using that road is fairly unlikely, Mark.
Let me tell you,
we're talking about a very antisocial thing.
People get a wild hair up their butt now and then.
Look, no FAA and no restrictions about where property lines can be would certainly mean we'd be having flying cars by now.
Yeah. Sure, but the point again that I'm going to make here is that you have no right to travel on property that is not yours, and
that's correct.
So there is no right to travel. Right to travel indicates
you have a right to travel wherever you have the ability to travel, wherever you have the permission to travel.
You can't travel on it. If you have permission, then you have no right. You don't need permission to have a right. A right is something that exists without permission.
Good point. 855-450 free like freedom. 855-450-3733. More on Positive Liberty coming up.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. So far in 2018, the Innocence Network has welcomed 32 wrongfully convicted people home from prison for crimes they did not commit and had a record-breaking 850 people unite in Memphis at their annual conference. The movement of freeing the innocent and reforming the criminal justice system is growing and would not be possible without your support. Together as 68 network organizations around the world, they've helped exonerate 513 people who spent a combined total of 7,804 years in prison. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us here if you want. We're talking about so-called positive liberty. What does it actually mean? And is it true liberty? Was that the question, Johnson, from Reason?
Positive liberty.
Is positive liberty true liberty?
Yeah.
So we'll get back into that, but I also want you to know about Zencash changing their branding. They are now known as Horizon. HORIZEN.global is their new website. It's still, the same Zencash that you remember, with a great privacy protection in that they've got zero-knowledge anonymity built in there, and now it is centralized secure node architecture as well, which they've got with the Zen currency. It's still called Zen, the currency aspect of Horizon. They still have more secure nodes and super nodes combined than Bitcoin has full nodes. So it's a very secure network. But it's more than just cryptocurrency, because the Horizon platform already enables real-life users to chat with other people. And Horizon will soon enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. They've got a big vision here. Go to horizon.global to learn more. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. HORIZEN.global. As we continue here from Reason.com, Johnson, can you reread the definition of you just went over it, but for those just tuning in, can you reread what they describe as positive liberty as opposed to negative liberty, which is the idea that you are left alone? That you should be left alone to do your own thing as long as you don't, harm anybody else. That's negative liberty.
So I think the definition you're looking for here is the negative liberty means being able to make choices and pursue goals free from active interference via force or threat from humans or human institutions. Positive liberty is what you actually have the means to do. If you lack the ability to take an action, such as travel, receive a certain type of education, or even eat, your positive liberty is restricted, but guaranteeing positive liberty requires making someone else provide it.
So, what we often talk about are positive rights and negative rights here on Free Talk Live. I don't like the terms. I didn't create them, but they are what exist. So I don't believe in a positive
maybe that's
right.
the term. Okay, that's what I was confusing, positive liberty. And that's what. So when we were talking earlier, we were talking about positive and negative rights, which is, I guess, a little bit different, but pretty similar.
It's the things, liberties come from rights, basically. So I think that you've got the right to own property, the right to do what you want on your property, so long as you don't harm anybody. You have the right to have your own religion. You have the right to write things down and distribute them, as long as you're distributing them in a way that doesn't interfere with other people's property rights. You've got rights. I don't disagree with that. However, when it comes to people who will say, do you have the right to food? Well, no. How would you have a right to food? If you have a right to food, that means somebody can't infringe upon it. And I have the right to. You have the right to buy food. I have the right to sell food. But you don't have the right to claim the food that I have because you're hungry.
You also, if you have a right to property, also have a right to grow food on your own property if you want.
You do. Please ask me for my food if you are hungry, and I will very likely provide it to you. Demand it from me like I am your serf, and you won't get a bit of it. Not one kernel. You don't have the right to dignity surrounding, food or anything. Like, dignity means you got to steal it from somebody else. It's just a code word.
Okay.
So it goes on here. So demanding anything from another person other than that he refrain from actively preventing you from doing something requires interfering with that person's choices or property. By definition, providing someone with a positive liberty violates the negative liberty of one or more persons. Some find the property part illegitimate.
But separating liberty and property denies political ethics relevance to lived human experience. Even positive liberty proponents generally argue for the power to use one's property. The two concepts are contradictory. One cannot have negative liberty while ensuring most versions of positive liberty.
Yeah,
correct.
Using the same word to describe them only introduces confusion.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's why I say one isn't liberty.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Because the system we live in regularly violates negative liberty, many of us have common sense intuitions that are troubling from a libertarian perspective. For example, people sometimes think that a restriction on people's lives doesn't violate their liberty if implemented via rules stated in advance and applied equally. Yet, such restrictions, by definition, are active interference by force or threat in someone's goals or choices.
Well, right. The only time rules stated in advance would not be violations of liberty is if someone consented to those rules,
right.
Which, when it comes to the government, none of us do.
Right. Libertarianism, to be meaningful, must be a philosophy about the barriers other living entities impose on you. In a world of scarcity and poverty in which unmet desires are endless, it can't coherently be about what you do or don't have the means to accomplish. Late 19th century British philosopher T.H. Green thought classical liberalism's version of liberty was incomplete, claiming that absence of compulsion isn't enough to make a person free. Instead, Green wrote that true liberty requires...
Absence of compulsion means that they are not, like, there is no
being forced
involved. You know,
gun to someone's head.
Right.
Or, men with guns going to, find you and then
or the
jail
threat
you
thereof.
And I'm not sure that I would agree with that. I would say that, well, look, you make a decision to go to work every day, and you may say, but I need the job. Well, look, we all need money, but you're making the decision to go to work every day.
Right.
So it's voluntary. Some people would say, that's wage slavery. Which is
you
the
can
word.
go walk away from the job and
Right.
beg for money on the streets. It seems to work pretty well for
right.
people.
If you gave me a cupcake every day when I came in here, Ian, would that be cupcake slavery? I mean, I'm not sure what we're talking about, and why I don't get a damn cupcake every day when I come in.
Where are the cupcakes?
What's that?
I said, where are the cupcakes?
I don't know, but you would go to the store and you would buy grocery store cupcakes, and you would call them cupcakes, and I would find that to be unacceptable.
I don't
entirely.
buy grocery store cupcakes.
I bet you would if you were forced to provide cupcakes. That's where you'd get them.
You know why wage slavery isn't real? Because there's no master in that version of slavery. Because you could
It's
say
an agreement.
You could say that. Well, no, because if it's wage slavery, it's not what wages to the one employer. They're making a false equivalence or a false comparison, right? Because you're saying a lot of these people are arguing that, well, it's the corporation or it's the business that's making the person the slave. No, because they're not being forced to work for that particular one. So really, the slave master in that particular instance is hunger, right? Is need. So they're trying to ascribe need to being a master, and it's like, well, everyone equally has needs.
Wait a second.
I mean, everyone needs to eat.
describe
Everyone
a
needs to breathe.
circumstance. Right.
I get where you're coming from, but there is cupcake slavery, right?
What?
Only when it comes to forcing someone to make a cupcake who doesn't want to make a cupcake for somebody.
Sure. Yeah, I'll make if you know.
You'll make the cupcake.
But right, to ascribe
And
the
you like
idea
it.
of a need, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the things that we need to have in order to sustain our life, to describe that as slavery is just a bizarre twisting of what slavery actually
these are the
is.
same sick people that if you twisted it far enough, there would be someone, you could find someone with that philosophy that would argue, well, I need sex, so someone should be forced to provide it.
I bet you could find that person. Yep. The toll-free number here is 855.
They're listening.
450 free. Well, the phone lines are open. 855-450-3733. You can talk about whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Has your body ever gone low blood sugar, feeling weak, shaky, knowing you better eat something fast? We all know high blood sugar can lead to many metabolic problems. At GCNteam.com, we have a healthy blood sugar pack, focusing on the structure and function of stable blood sugar. Find us at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Nothing feels worse than unstable blood sugar. Call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, open phones, as always, here for you. The number is toll-free. It's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I do want you to know about AnyPay.global. If you're into cryptocurrency and you want to accept it in real life, AnyPay is the best solution for you. You can accept Bitcoin, BTC, Dash, Zcash, and others. Go to AnyPay.global. It makes point-of-sale acceptance a snap. And I'm not joking here. I mean, you want to talk about a setup time that's super short? You've probably never set anything up that is this quick for your business. If you've already got a tablet at your point of sale, you're almost done. You go to AnyPay.global. You open up an account, and that process is lightning fast. It couldn't be any faster. You create a username and password, and you have an account. There's no approval process. You then stick your cryptocurrency addresses into the setup page and then load the app on your point-of-sale device. That's it. You're done. You're accepting cryptocurrency right there at your register. Go to AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global. Johnson, you're sharing with us a story from Reason.com about so-called positive liberty, which I had confused with positive rights and negative rights, which is why my description wasn't really accurate. I probably have never even heard of positive liberty before tonight, but the definition is very similar between positive liberty and positive rights. The idea being that a negative liberty is the freedom of being left alone, which that tracks with negative rights, the right to be left alone. The positive liberty, as you described it from the Reason article, is the idea that can you afford to do a thing, right? Like, can you afford to eat? Do you have the means to eat? Can you afford to travel? Do you have the means to travel? If so, you have that positive liberty. But they add that in order to ensure that people have that liberty, those so-called liberties, then you have to enforce, you have to destroy negative liberty, you have to take away freedom from other people in order to fund people's so-called positive liberties. And the argument, and do you know who's writing this piece? Because it's pretty good. I should give him credit or her credit.
Sure. Well, it's a him and a her. It's Brian Doherty and, it's Brian Doherty and Samuel Hamlin. So him and him.
So they're arguing that this term shouldn't even exist. Positive liberty shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be even really considered a liberty because it's not, because it violates liberty. And I totally agree with this. And I feel like liberty is just plain the ability to live your life how you want without interference, without the threat of violence, coercion from others. That's what it's always been to me. And for somebody to introduce these terms, I find to be confusing.
Well, late 19th century British political philosopher T.H. Green, who introduced these terms, thought that classical liberalism's version of liberty was incomplete, claiming that the absence of compulsion isn't enough to make a person free. Instead, Green wrote that true liberty required the maximum of power for all to make the best of themselves, disdaining negative liberty as the freedom of savagery, of the lone nomad removed from civilization.
Right, the people that'll say that they'll call libertarianism the freedom to starve.
Yeah, or the, what is it? When someone is saying that it's one nation should not interact with other nations.
Isolationism?
Isolationism, yeah, exactly. They say libertarians are isolationist.
Which is, of course, completely false.
Right.
There may be some who are isolationists, but by default, I think most libertarians I know, they believe in trade with
libertarianism should be means you should be left alone. So if you want to be left alone, then by all means you should be left alone. I'm not going to come to your house, stick a gun in your face, and tell you got to go to work and trade with people and like people you don't like or whatever it is that you want to do. But by that same token, I don't think anybody else should be able to do the same thing.
Right.
I would call a person that goes onto somebody else's property and forces them to interact with other people some kind of weird abuser.
Yeah.
Well, this elevation of capability over non-interference was no mere academic matter, but rather laid the groundwork for an enormous amount of actual compulsion, as classical liberalism gave way to modern liberalism in the 20th century. This arcane positive versus negative liberty debate shapes what sort of government people tolerate in ways that can make us more controlled by others' will. There may be things you do not like about the current social order that have nothing to do with negative liberty. You might be bothered by income inequality, for example, and feel tempted to trade away some respect for property rights so the government can engage in wealth redistribution. But your concerns are no longer libertarian at that point. It's also dangerous to place vague notions such as equality above liberty. If we never violated negative liberty, we'd have a very real kind of equality. The equal freedom to pursue our own goals with no one, no matter how powerful, actively interfering in your life.
In whatever way you want it.
Even for their version of your benefit. But for enforcing equality beyond that necessarily violates negative liberty.
Correct. Because you would have to force somebody to provide something in order to level the playing field or make everybody appear to be equal, which is, we've already pointed out, not in this conversation, but in other conversations, as soon as, even if the wealth redistributionists could have press a button tomorrow morning, wake up, press a button, and then poof, all the savings.
Everybody has the equal amount of money.
Everybody then gets an equal amount of money, right? Like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates' accounts get drained. All the rich peoples in the world get their accounts drained, and everybody else gets, even those who don't have bank accounts magically have a bunch of money appear under their mattress. People with bank accounts get the same amount of money, and within minutes it would be unequal because people would have already spent a bunch of money.
Just to ask, are you talking about, because people who say that they want something like this to happen always just say they want it to happen in America, because it would be an entirely different situation.
You don't think they want everyone to be equal?
No. Are you kidding me? The people that talk about wanting things to be equal only want them in America because they want to have more money.
I've never heard this.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine you would get any person who describes themselves as a socialist to admit that they're only talking about this arbitrary landmass, that they don't want everyone in the world to be taken care of or to be fed.
Why do they want?
Wait, do you mean everybody in the world only has $1,000? What?
Right. Well, that's exactly what you're talking about here. Let's see. Answer that question for you. Credit Suisse estimated that the world asset liability global population is
what are you reading?
250 trillion. This is from Quora.com. Divide this by the population. Let's say 8 billion people, and you get $31,250. Everybody on the planet could buy a car.
I see what you're saying.
And some of them would.
Economically, it doesn't work.
And then the people selling cars would have lots of money, and the people who didn't, bought them would then not have enough money to put gas in them.
I see what you're saying. The person who's really just in it for themselves, advocating this particular policy, would want that restriction, but I don't know how many of them have thought that far ahead.
Well, I mean, I can't.
And how many of them purportedly would admit to just
right?
wanting it for themselves.
With the fight for 15 isn't for a $15 minimum wage in Mexico.
No, that's true. You're right about that. You're right.
It's just socialism for the sake of benefiting the people that they want to benefit.
I don't think you're wrong necessarily that there are people out there, but I think most socialists.
By the way, a $15 minimum wage in Mexico would destroy their economy. That's why it's dumb.
No doubt. Well, there's a lot of reasons why a minimum wage is a dumb idea. But ultimately, I'm just saying, Mark, I don't believe that most socialists are that aware of what you're talking about. I think they really do want I believe that they really do want people to be helped. I think that they honestly want to help people have a better lifestyle.
If they wanted to, they would help. No, they not just advocate stealing from people.
But they don't know a better way. This is the way they were
That's
trained.
not helping.
I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. But people in the United States and elsewhere in the world were trained that if you want to help, you have to use the government. And these socialists have embraced that idea that this is a way that the government is illegitimate in their mind. We don't agree because force is being used. And many of these socialists don't want to admit that the force is being used. They don't want to see the force is being used. They don't want to agree that they are agreeing with force being used because nobody who's sane, nobody who's compassionate actually wants to admit that they're willing to use force to achieve their goals. But in this case, you would have to.
Yeah, you'd have to.
So, and again, if you press that magic button and you distribute it, even if it was all across just America, Mark, it would still, within the first 24 hours, within the first 12 hours, you would have inequality. Just because that's people. There's more coming up here in moments. 855 450 free if you want to join us.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Free Talk Live.
Wire 47 plus nations going down and blockading what is called the South Pole.
Where did you hear this?
Look it up, mate.
Okay, I'm looking right now.
Do your research.
Well, no. See, when somebody calls in and makes a claim, they should be able to back that claim. So if you're telling me that's happening, then I'd like to see some sort of proof of that. Now, a quick Google search for South Pole blockade.
Oh, you trust Google, do you?
Okay, well, what search engine should I use? Where would I find information about this?
You can do WikiLeaks, Wikipedia, or WikiLeaks.
Okay, don't say the S word or else we're going to have to drop your call.
Dude, it's all over the news.
No, you can't say that on
Free Talk Live. 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want right here, toll free. The number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about liberty and what it means. Somebody, some philosopher type, what was it, in the 19th century or something, brought up these terms, positive and negative liberty, which just really confuses the issue and I think distracts from what liberty really should be, and that seems to be the argument that Reason.com's authors here are making. Johnson, you had more to share about that. We'll get into it here in a moment. But if you do like liberty, you'll probably love the Tom Woods Show. In fact, Tom has been doing his own show called The Tom Woods Show for 5 years now. He started in September of 2013. For those of you who don't know Tom, he is a New York Times best-selling author who's written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. A lot of libertarians got to know Tom during the Ron Paul campaigns, and indeed, he's interviewed Ron Paul, as well as Judge Andrew Napolitano, David Stockman, and hundreds more guests. Plus, they've discussed issues including war, the Federal Reserve, net neutrality, the FDA, Austrian economics, and other subjects of interest to libertarians. So you can find the Tom Woods Show online over at his website, tomwoods.com, or search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. As we continue here, Johnson, you had more that you wanted to share from Reason.com on this idea of so-called positive liberty, which, of course, the way it's been defined cannot actually exist unless negative liberty is violated, and that means the ability, your freedom, or in theory, what we should have, the freedom to live your life how you want. That's so-called negative liberty without having anybody use coercion or the threat of it on you.
Right.
But in order to provide people with other things or guarantees of those things, then you've got to infringe upon other people's negative liberties. So they're arguing the term positive liberty shouldn't exist, and I tend to agree with that so far.
So it says, one may value things above freedom when shaping the political and social order, but it seems un-cricket to wear libertarianism like a disguise, taking on the intellectual and emotional benefits that accrue to liberty. What does un-cricket mean? Un-cricket, like the game cricket? Unsportsmanlike.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Cricket's a British game, Mark,
Yes.
where they...
I know what... Thank you, Ian.
They knock balls through these little...
So
goals.
I could rephrase
if it doesn't
to say,
have to do with computers, you don't have to explain it to me.
So
Okay?
I could say it's very unsportsmanlike to wear libertarianism like a disguise, taking on the intellectual and emotional benefits that accrue to liberty while actually valuing other things above the only truly coherent form of liberty. There are many possible reasons for valuing liberty above other social considerations. We may see something inherent about human nature that demands that we treat others as ends in themselves, not just as means to our vision of a better world. We may notice that the concept of positive liberty frequently dissolves into sophistical excuses to treat other people's lives as means to our preferred ends. We may think that any overarching social vision of what better looks like isn't discoverable except by letting people demonstrate via free choice what they want. We may conclude on empirical grounds that empowering one group of people to make things better by manipulating everyone's lives and property inevitably leads to bloodshed, injustice, and misery.
That's the world that we live in. That is the world that we've been living in for generations upon hundreds of years, is the world where these do-gooders, these know-it-alls, these politicians, these activists who believe they know what's best are forcing their vision upon everybody else. And as we've seen time and time again with every single program, with every government program, with every time the use of force is implemented, there's always unintended consequences. So it doesn't matter what these people's vision is. It doesn't matter if they might be right. Who knows? But the problem is what's wrong is the way it's being implemented. So if you've got a good idea, and maybe it is a good idea to, take care of the poor, take care of the sick, all that stuff, it needs to be done voluntarily, because as soon as you enter into the use of coercive force, you get all these unintended consequences, which in many cases create the opposite of your intended goals. We've seen it happen again and again. You look at the war on drugs, you end up getting more drugs, you end up getting harder drugs, more dangerous drugs, more overdoses. You look at the war on poverty, you end up instituting poverty, institutionalizing it. You end up expanding it, expanding incentives to be poor. I mean, it's just the consequences are crystal clear if you just look at them.
So I just want to finish this sentence here. So he says, we may conclude on empirical grounds that empowering one group of people to make things better by manipulating everyone's lives and property inevitably leads to bloodshed, injustice, and misery. And to the extent that apparent goods arise from liberty-violating institutions, we may believe that a regime of negative liberty would be capable of providing those same goods without the bloodshed, injustice, and misery.
I tend to think that that's the case.
Yeah.
Not only that, not only the same goods, but more of them and cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be conflicts, and people are going to be unhappy with the results. There's no doubt. Freedom is the freedom to make mistakes. Freedom is the freedom to make bad decisions. Freedom is freedom to be an a-hole. But no one listening to me would say that they had every idea right in the year of Jesus' birth, 0 AD. No one would say that they had everything right in 1000 AD. No one would say they had everything right in 1900 AD. But only a fool would say, we have everything right now. We know what is right, just, honest, true, virtuous, and good. We know all of those things. So let's just force them on people. Let's force them to make the right decision. You don't know what the right decision is. You think you do. You're adamant you do. You're virulent in your belief that you do. You're wrong.
It may be that the decision that's right for you is wrong for another person.
I guess. I mean, it could be. I can just look at history and say that people who think they're right on a particular issue right now aren't.
Well, the concept of negative liberty has an emotional pull on nearly everyone in some abstract way. Yet libertarians are acutely aware that most people are also willing to violate it to achieve something they want more. But abandoning negative liberty means allowing certain individuals to use force or the threat of the same to make people who have not harmed anyone turn their will, their energy, their property, or their life towards someone else's goals. This ought not to be done is both a powerful institution and, as libertarians try to argue, the key to achieving a world that is optimally wealthy and full of choices. This seems, at least to some of us, like as noble and appropriate a vision as political ethics could have.
Well, unfortunately, one of the reasons why libertarians have such a tough time, winning, basically having success, promoting this particular vision, this philosophy of rights and liberty and freedom, is because so many people, they put whatever it is that they want above the idea of liberty. Oh, they want liberty for themselves, of course, but they also want X. They want society to look like Y. They want this thing or that thing or this vision to be imposed. And as long as people want to control other people, as long as people are willing to sacrifice freedom to have control over others, we're never going to get to a totally free society. We're never even going to get close to it, which is why, in my opinion, libertarians need to gather together in one geographic area so we can actually have enough social pull to have influence, because that's all that this really is, about spreading a message. It's about social influence over other people. And if you want people to take the ideas of liberty seriously, they're going to have to be present in their lives in more than one way. It has to come at them from more than just a politician on a television set or somebody writing a letter to the editor. It has to be something they encounter from their coworkers at their job, from their people at their church, from people on television, from people on the radio, from all different aspects of their lives. They have to encounter people who believe in liberty, in my opinion, across the board. And libertarians are just spread too damn thin to really make an impact anywhere else. And I feel like that's why we've been having some success here in New Hampshire, because we've actually had a concentration of libertarians where we're getting closer every single day as more people migrate here to having that situation where people are working with libertarians, where people are going to social clubs and they're encountering libertarians. And that's something that we need to grow so we can have an effect, so we can get this philosophy of, hey, leave people alone and we'll have a better life. All of us will, overall. And I know there's more that you probably want to share from this piece. Coming up here, hour number 3 is also on the way, where you can take control of the airwaves. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. We're coming up.
How well and how fast does Heart and Body Extract work to improve blood circulation? Listen.
My name is Ellis, and I'm 66 years old, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed as having clogged arteries. I had 70% blockage in one artery leading to my heart. They wanted me to go on Plavix, but I refused, knowing the negative side effects.
Heart and Body Extract is a unique balance, synergy, and proportion of herbs reaching from head to toe at maximum absorption around 95% at the cellular level.
Within the first month, I felt a dramatic difference. The heaviness in my legs was reduced, and within 2 months, I felt completely normal.
Your natural organic herbal formula for heart health is Heart and Body Extract. Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract. Call 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,195 per ounce. Zen is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,373. Antiwar.com reports in a new tweet on Monday, President Trump warned Syria against attacking the rebels in Idlib province. He also warned Iran and Russia against participating in any such attack if it happens. Trump insisted the Russians and Iranians would be making a grave humanitarian mistake to take part in this potential human tragedy, saying that hundreds of thousands of people could be killed. Though Syria has not confirmed any specifics, it is believed that they are preparing to attempt to expel the rebels from Idlib, including the al-Qaeda-dominated faction, which UN officials say has 10,000 designed terrorists fighting within. Others estimate that overall some 70,000 fighters are within the province, and the densely populated area could indeed lead to large civilian death tolls in the fighting. The U.S. opposition is particularly noteworthy, however, because recent offensives against other densely populated cities and provinces, like Deir ez-Zor and Mosul, saw not only U.S. endorsement, but direct U.S. participation. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports a woman is dead after jumping out of a moving ambulance on a Northern California freeway. The California Highway Patrol said the woman, whose name had not been released pending notification of next of kin, got out of her restraints and overpowered an EMT before exiting the ambulance. She was then struck by multiple oncoming cars and died from the injuries, according to CHP officer Josh Roberts. Paramedics were taking the woman to the John George Psychiatric Hospital in San Leandro, California, after she got into an altercation with police in Pleasanton. According to the Mercury News, police responded to a call of a woman driving recklessly and hitting several cars, as well as a pedestrian at around 2 a.m. Monday morning. During their attempt to apprehend the woman, 2 police officers used their taser to subdue her. After restraining the woman, she was taken to a hospital for a routine medical evaluation before paramedics attempted to take her to a psychiatric hospital. Roberts said investigators are looking into how the woman was able to get out of the ambulance. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Gordon whipped the southern tip of Florida with high winds and rain on Monday and was expected to make landfall as a hurricane along the central U.S. Gulf Coast on Tuesday night, according to the National Hurricane Center. The storm is currently forecast to come ashore late on Tuesday near the border between Louisiana and Mississippi and drop as much as 8 inches of rain in some areas of the U.S. South, still reeling from hurricanes a year ago. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency, saying 200 Louisiana National Guardsmen were being deployed, along with 63 high water trucks, 39 boats, and 4 helicopters. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency warned of storm surges between 3 and 5 feet and told residents of South Mississippi to prepare to evacuate. The National Hurricane Center said Gordon was generating winds of 50 miles per hour on Monday as it steamed west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. By Monday afternoon, the storm had passed over Florida's southern tip. There were no reports of any injuries or deaths or damages to buildings, according to Alberto Moscoso, a spokesman for the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Last year, powerful hurricanes walloped Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, causing thousands of deaths, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage, massive power outages, and devastation to hundreds of thousands of structures. At the mouth of the Mississippi River, around the area of New Orleans, this storm could generate a surge of up to 4 feet, and smaller surges could hit coastland along other parts of the Gulf Coast. The U.S. Coast Guard also warned that the ports of New Orleans, as well as Gulfport and Pascagoula, Mississippi, may have to close within 48 hours when gale force winds from Gordon are expected to arrive. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The new Netflix Gas lets users instantly inhale multiple seasons of TV shows. An area man is worried the nation's healthcare debate might be getting political, and a bullied 8th grader incorrectly thought classmates would leave him alone during a field trip to the 9/11 memorial. Don't mistake my kind, gentle tone for one of love or support. This is the Onion Week in Review. According to a report released this Tuesday, no one, absolutely no one, will ever stack up to your 8th grade boyfriend, Brian Bowden, who you dated for 6 weeks in middle school. A 43-page study from Stanford University confirmed that no other guy in your life will ever be as kind or caring as the 13-year-old who held your hand during the scary parts of Jurassic Park, who had that really cool chain wallet, and who bought you 2 pink carnations on Valentine's Day. The report added that while your current boyfriend does have a lot going for him, he will certainly never cut class with you to listen to the Dead Kennedys' Frankenchrist on a Sony Discman. Brian used to do that with you. He used to do it all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program here. You can dial in toll-free and take control of the airwaves. We are talking about liberty. I mean, that's generally what we talk about here on Free Talk Live, but more specific applications of it. Here we're talking generally about the ideas of liberty, and there's an interesting philosophical piece over at Reason.com that you've been sharing, Johnson. It's Ian Johnson and Mark in the studio here tonight, but phones are always open to you if you want to join the show. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, or jump into our Discord on-air call-in line rooms. There are 3 of them available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into any one of those rooms, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. So, Johnson, bring us up to speed for listeners just tuning in on this story. Kind of, if you can you give a summary, or should Mark and I
go ahead and summarize it all?
Mark, you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, it's a story that basically they're talking about positive liberty and negative liberty, and
how positive liberty shouldn't exist as a term.
Yeah, positive liberty is just from a definitional standpoint, basically socialism, and there's a pretty good argument that the person that started it was a sort of incipient socialist, proto-socialist. And negative liberty is just liberty as it's defined today by libertarians who pretty much own the term. I mean, there are people that are attempting to sort of reclaim it. Well, it's freedom to,
freedom from what?
Healthcare is freedom to be healthy, or at least not pay for your problems.
The way it's been described by one of our callers most succinctly is freedom from what? The freedom from wanting to eat, the freedom to from want of health care, the freedom of from want of a place to stay.
Well, I know the freedom. How you get the freedom from want? Get your butt out there and work.
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
No, Well, some people can't work.
See, they want the freedom to not have to work as well. They want it all.
Right.
With no effort.
Freedom does sort of suggest that you don't have to spend your time on things, right? Like freedom often seems like it has to do with leisure. And it does. I believe at its foundation that freedom, as it's defined today, defined by me, this show, and just about everybody that wants to fight over this term, means that you have to have enough wealth in order to have, just to be able to maintain the lifestyle you currently have, upgrade the lifestyle, whatever it is that you're looking to do. Wealth is in there. So yes, I believe that freedom has to do with wealth. And sadly, we are all born in this world stark naked. Nothing in our hands, except for Genghis Khan.
And wanting everything. You're born wanting everything.
Yes,
you don't have
are.
anything by default.
So, when you get old enough that you can no longer demand things from your parents, it's not okay to begin demanding them from just other people on the planet.
So where do we pick up the story, Johnson?
Sure. So it goes on to say here, the most influential works of philosophy do more to change how we think than what we think. And in turn, they end up doing both. By this definition, Isaiah Berlin's 1958 essay, Two Concepts of Liberty, is very influential indeed. In drawing a clean distinction between negative and positive liberty, Berlin laid out a seductive vocabulary for thinking about our rights and freedoms that, once learned, is devilishly hard to transcend. But transcend it we must. The popular view among contemporary libertarians is that freedom merely means freedom from, as in freedom from the coercive tentacles of government interference, is radically incomplete. It takes for granted the immense institutional infrastructure that makes our apparent negative rights anything but, and it orients the libertarian reform agenda in a way that is ripe for abuse. To see why requires tracing the origins of the negative conception of liberty back to its roots. As the economist F.A. Hayek notes in The Constitution of Liberty, not Locke, nor Hume, nor Smith, nor Burke could ever have argued, as Bentham did, that every law is an evil, for every law is an infraction of liberty. Their argument was never a complete laissez-faire argument, which, as the very words show, is also part of the French rationalist tradition, and, in its literal sense, was never defended by any of the English classical economists.
So wait, he's saying they didn't go far enough?
Yes.
He's saying all those names didn't go far enough in their definition of liberty.
Correct.
Okay.
Instead, Hayek argued...
Hayek was no anarchist.
Yeah.
He was no voluntarist either.
Yeah. Instead, Hayek argued the English classical liberals located liberty in the evolution of well-constructed institutions where rules and principles of contending interests and compromised advantages would be reconciled in a way that channeled individual efforts to socially beneficial aims. Property rights and legal systems in particular represent what David Hume called the artifice of justice. It's institutional forms that, far from being absolute, primordial facts of nature, were adopted over time on the basis that they are empirically conducive to human flourishing. This is not...
So it's not about liberty, it's about prosperity?
Yes, there's arguments in regards to both.
Okay.
This is not...
I kind of think they tend to be very close to the same things.
Yeah. This is not to underrate the unique threat governments pose to individual liberty. On the contrary, the positive underpinning of seemingly negative rights is what provides the meta-rule necessary for appreciating the why and how of limited government in the first place. From a commitment to the general, non-discriminating application of justice to support for efficient institutions of property and market exchange, and the recognition of essential civil rights, including political participation that give voice to the voiceless. None of these essential characteristics of a limited representative government can be found in the simplistic maxim of non-interference.
Right, because as long as the government has a lot of words, but
it sure is. It's murky.
Yeah. basically, they're saying here that as long as there's a limited government, you don't have negative rights. You don't have freedom. You don't have the ability to live your life how you want, because inherent into government is violence, is the threat of violence, the threat of force if you don't go along with what they want.
Well, they're also talking about sort of rights as they're defined in the Bill of Rights, for instance, are not really rights from a libertarian standpoint. So if you're talking about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, right to redress grievances, and there's one more in the First Amendment.
The right to assemble.
A right to assemble. Do you need a right to assemble on your own property?
No.
No one's ever disputed that.
And
really.
you don't have a right to assemble
rarely.
on somebody else's property.
And you don't have a right to assemble on other. So it's about public property.
Right.
You need speech to talk on public property.
Correct.
You need religion to be able to air your grievances on public property.
These are all in reference to the government's existence.
Yeah, it all has to do with government's existence.
Thankfully, with the article, we're out of quote land here, so it's not as bad. He says, in contrast, consider what happens when the rationalistic view that every law is an evil is taken in earnest. Suddenly, ad hoc tax and regulatory breaks for politically connected companies, the definition of crony capitalism, come to be seen in quasi-utilitarian fashion as a sort of abstract reduction in society's net coercion, because they result in less total money being taken from and restrictions being placed on private entities, rather than obvious violations of equality under the law. Suddenly, it becomes a valiant form of civil disobedience to logjam the state with frivolous legal disputes. And suddenly, otherwise careful thinkers like Milton Friedman proclaim to be in favor of cutting taxes under any circumstances and for any excuse, for any reason, wherever it's possible, and even if it ends up harming economic mobility.
Meaning that if they're cutting taxes just for corporations, it may benefit those corporations, but ultimately they're still hurting.
This is the Republican trick that gets played all the time. We are for economic freedom for everyone, and then they make economic freedom for the well-connected and call it economic freedom, and that's not economic freedom at all.
Even though the government's budget doesn't go down, so somebody's got to be paying that.
If you got two groups of people and you give freedom to one of them, you have necessarily harmed the other group.
There's more on the way here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, you can. You can take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live. More coming up.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, or jump into our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Ron Paul, you want to see him in real life? He's going to be speaking at Anarchapulco 2019, as he spoke this year at the 2018 Anarchapulco, and Anarchapulco 2018 was a sold-out event. So if you missed out in 2018, you better go get your tickets soon, because they are almost halfway to being sold out. The last numbers we got
I suspect they're past halfway at this point.
Anarchapulco.com, use code FTL. You'll save 15% on what it was this year, an amazing event in the beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. This next year, it's going to be February 14th through the 19th, so several days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. You'll get great speakers like Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Doug Casey, Larkin Rose, and others. Many of them will be discussing entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. And we'll be there too. Mark, you and I will be present. We will be great. Broadcasting Free Talk Live.
Love it there. From
the event, and it's fun. It's fun to get to see listeners, both new and old, which is what we did this year. And so we'll be there again this coming up in 2019. Again, February 14th through the 19th. Save 15% off of your tickets over at anarchapulco.com by using code FTL, like Free Talk Live. All right, so Johnson, you've got a little bit more here from the Reason.com piece, getting into the philosophy of liberty, criticizing some of the previous philosopher types, the big names, the Milton Friedmans, the others, for not going far enough and still kind of instituting the idea of the state, the idea of this night watchman state, which, as the state has always been put together, still requires violence, still requires coercion against peaceful people in order to fund its activities, no matter how beneficial they might be perceived at being. And he gives the example of the justice system, for instance.
There are still a few big words still left in this, so I will try and slow down to make it a little bit more palatable here in the few paragraphs that are left. So it goes on to say, rationalism is infectious in all its forms, transforming rich normative concepts like liberty into easily parroted, disembodied axioms. So, bite-sized sound bites.
So rationalism is bad in this circumstance?
Well, I think
rationalizing something.
I think it's oversimplifying liberty is essentially what the argument is here. That's why Hayek viewed rationalism as the ultimate source of tyranny, emboldening reformers to fashion civilization deliberately, as if according to a blueprint. Hayek is the one who believes that there's, you can't organize things from the top down. Everything has to come from the bottom up.
Naturally from the market.
Right. Modern libertarians recognize this tendency in romantic ideologies like Marxism, but too often fail to see it in themselves.
Yeah, sure.
The alternative to a purely negative concept of freedom is necessarily, by process of elimination, going to be considered positive, but this simply reveals the limits of Isaiah Berlin's dichotomy. Positive liberty is easily parodied as the notion that a rich man is more free than a poor man simply because he has greater resources and thus the freedom to do the things he wants, up to and including the freedom to make someone else his slave. Besides being a paradoxical abuse of the English language, this view of liberty is held by virtually no one, save for the caricatures of bad faith ideologues.
That sounds accurate. Yeah.
Much more fruitful is the idea that a truly self-determined choice has certain psychosocial prerequisites, be it a minimal level of health or education, what the philosopher Amartya Sen calls basic capabilities, or a reasonable set of better alternatives, such as the freedom from private power enjoyed by a worker for whom multiple employers are competing. Hayek.
So the worker has power too.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, if you're skilled at what you do.
So I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because I don't disagree with you that ultimately a worker can choose for whom he's working, and so therefore he is something worth. If he's skilled
right.
and got a good history or whatever, then he's worth bidding on. The counter argument to that from somebody who like Greg, who might call in, would say, well, that's all well and good as long as you have the freedom, as long as you have enough wealth to be able to afford to quit a job.
Well, remember, this is a worker for whom multiple employers are competing. That was the specific sentence.
Right. I've been given
not someone who's looking for multiple jobs, but somebody who's being competed over by employers.
As a media salesperson in Sarasota, Florida, I was offered signing bonuses. I was offered all kinds. I mean, a signing bonus is a nice way to not have to worry about a paycheck in between, jobs. Yeah. So I could have left one ad venue, gone to another, received more money, pay upgrades. At one point, I was, the paychecks given guarantees. You'll make this much money, and then your commissions come on top of that. So, sure, at that point, I could have left and gone for whatever reason. And I've often said on the air that an employer could never possibly fire anybody over something like gender or race or sexual orientation, but an employee could quit. I don't like that black gay woman that's running the business now. I don't like it, and I can leave.
Well, but you're saying under the current structure, it would be prohibited by law for the employers to fire somebody for those reasons. But without the current structure, then an employer would be free to fire somebody for whatever reason they wanted.
An employer would simply be equal. Because an employee can leave for whatever reason they want. Right now, an employee could leave because they are a racist, bigoted, sexist, nasty, disgusting individual.
Be careful what you say here on air.
What?
You might be giving some liberals some ideas that we need laws to make sure that employees can't quit for those reasons.
And I don't think they would ever.
No, they would never do that because employees are subjugated.
If you don't think that they would never say that.
Okay. All right, let's move on.
So I just to me it's seems like obvious that absolutely they would.
Well, they want to align themselves with the worker. They at least that's the way they want to be seen, because the workers there's more of them than there are of employers, and so they want to.
Yeah, but do they really want to align themselves with racist, bigoted workers?
No, they don't.
Yeah. See, it's one of those weird
They just say it doesn't work. They just say that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean,
this is not a problem.
You're thinking from a standpoint of logic and rationality, which you can't think from that standpoint at all and get into the head of a liberal, or at least a social liberal. So, or an economic liberal. So it talks about that. Okay, so Hayek highlighted the importance of competition, in particular in his 1947 address to the Mont Pelerin Society, which he called the interpretation of the fundamental principle of liberalism as absence of state activity as wholly unsatisfactory.
I do love the way economists are able to make succinct titles that really grab people's attention.
We got more on the way here. A toll-free number if you want to join us to talk about liberty. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Or jump into our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Of course, you can join us online anytime over at freetalklive.com. We got more coming up and time for you if you want to join us.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. We got time for you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us on the Discord on-air call-in line. People are chatting away in the Discord chat tonight on the Free Talk Live chat room. There are different chat rooms on our Discord server, but the ones that are relevant for on-air are the ones at the top of the list at discord.lrn.fm. Just join any one of those. We'll get you on the air. You can talk about what you want. Right now, we've been discussing liberty generally as a philosophy and talking about the idea of positive liberty and how it shouldn't exist, according to the Reason.com piece, and I totally agree with what I've heard here so far. The idea of negative liberty is, you should be free to live your life how you want, so long as, you're not infringing on somebody else's world and others aren't infringing on yours. Whereas positive liberty suggests that you would have freedom from want, that somebody ought to take care of you, that you have the liberty to do whatever you want because all of your needs have been taken care of. And that is a complete bastardization of the idea of liberty in general. And Johnson, that's kind of where we left off. But I do want to add one thing here before we continue, and that is special thanks to our Free Talk Live amplifiers. Tonight's amplifier that we're thanking, Gene, the Christian Anarchist, one of our longest-running Free Talk Live amplifiers. He is a silver amplifier, meaning he gives $5 a month to the show. And you can do the same thing by going to amp.freetalklive.com. You can use credit card, you can use PayPal, you can use Bitcoin BTC, and get behind what we do here. If you love the fact that we're talking about liberty on the radio in 190 radio stations, plus coast to coast in the United States and actually beyond, because we're in Guam and also we're in Alaska. We don't have any stations, I don't think, in Hawaii right now, but we've got a lot.
Continued to name the United States.
Yeah. Well, I said coast to coast and beyond. I don't consider Guam to be coast to coast. I think that's way beyond the coasts. If you look at a map, you'll see that that's the case. So check it out over at amp.freetalklive.com. And again, thanks, Gene, the Christian Anarchist.
Thank you, Gene.
Amp.freetalklive.com. Johnson, you had just a smidgen
just
more
a little
here
bit, just
from
wrapping
Reason.
it up. Yep. So it says here about talking about that fundamental principle of liberalism was absence of state activity is wholly unsatisfactory, defining liberty in that way. Hayek was right about this.
Before you go on, because it's more than just absence of state activity, it's absence of all coercion.
Right, exactly.
Right. I mean, just because the government's not coercing you doesn't mean that other people aren't coercing you.
The state's just institutionalized coercion, that's all.
And so let's define coercion. Coercion is forcing somebody to do something,
or the threat of force,
physically. Threat of force. That's good. Yep. Holding something hostage in order to make them do it.
Yep. Yeah. Against their will.
Hayek was right about this, as he was about so many other things: competition, dynamic markets, and the benefits they spur in the form of wealth creation and innovation do not spring ex nihilo from the proverbial.
What the hell is ex nihilo?
It is what it is. It is ex nihilo is Latin.
Out of nothing.
Yeah, out of nothing.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
From the proverbial.
I want to thank Mr. Gilpin and those 2 stinking years I spent in Latin class at Bayshore High School, because for God's sake, that's the first time I've ever used that crap. Kids, do not take
30
Latin
years
class.
Later.
He expounds in the context of the sentence by following up by saying, from the proverbial state of nature. So why should we, as libertarians, treat them as happy accidents of an otherwise negative creed? We should instead acknowledge that the case for liberty would be much weaker if flourishing was not among its fortuitous consequences. And we should look beyond dogmatic anti-statism to an agenda based on ensuring our institutions continue to reconcile competing interests and remain well constructed for the 21st century.
So he's arguing for a watchman state. I can't figure this thing out. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to read to understand Brian Doherty's stuff, but it sounds here like he's saying we should protect these institutions.
Brian Doherty was the first argument. Samuel
there was 2 arguments here?
Yes. The second page is Samuel Hammond's argument.
That was not made clear to me at all.
Yeah, so the whole second page was the argument for for this.
A smaller state.
For the smaller state, which had some decent arguments for.
There are some decent arguments for it.
There are
Sure.
some decent arguments there for liberty, but this. Yeah, the second page here was for the much more complicated and convoluted argument was the one by Samuel Hammond. So this whole
I thought that there was a different sentiment in the second part, and I wasn't really clicking on why that was.
The can't communicate very well, big sentences, big words, kind of irrational argument was the one by Samuel Hammond for
that sheds a little more light on what was just going on for the last hour.
Sorry. Well, half an hour.
When you said it were two authors, I just thought they were just authoring this together as.
I thought so. That's what I thought myself until now I see at the top of the second page. It only says that Samuel Hammond.
Sometimes these things happen in the reading of articles. So I think that it's, for me, when it comes down to this particular argument, the argument between minarchism, as they say, and voluntarism is I think that people should be free to try what they want. With other people on a piece of shared land that they all sort of work together on.
Sure.
Please, by all means, try out whatever your political experiment is. When it washes over into my, limited constitutional republic area, we're going to, get territorial on you. But when you're doing it over there, that's cool. If you're going to come use the roads, why don't you pay for them? If you're going to come use our services, why don't you pay for those? But other than that, I think it's let's see how your experiment works out. But
are you saying that your area would be by consent? That 100% of the people would be consenting to those?
Oh no, we're going to tie them all up to little stakes, and they have to stay in there. What are you talking about?
I'm just asking to clarify here. You're talking about a limited republic. Are you saying that 100% of the people in that area would be consenting to that system?
Well, the difficulty with it is we already exist in something like that, right? So,
well, no, we do not have people consenting because I don't consent.
I understand. We exist in a limited republic, supposedly. Like, that's what the piece of paper says.
There's a piece of paper which was written on by men who I don't know and did not have anything to do with.
Once you allow people to...
It's also a republic in North Korea.
Once you extricate... It says a republic, but that doesn't mean it is one.
And does it mean it here?
It says it's of the people, republic. North Korea is demonstrably not.
No, it's a people's republic. It actually says in the title, People's Republic.
I understand it says it in the title, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do the people have to do with the government in North Korea?
All I'm saying is your republic's a bunch of crap. Because it doesn't do what it purports to do, which was respect the individual rights. And
we can try a limited republic and learn from some mistakes more easily than you can just say to everybody, "Hey, we're just getting rid of the government tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
And that's
that's not going to happen.
That's something that people can try where they want to try it. But
not as long as there's people around forcing a republic down their throats.
No, you're not going to force your republic. If you can take your land out of the republic. If at any time you can secede, you're not being forced to anything.
That's all I'm asking you. In the republic you're talking about, would it be one by consent, or would
I'm talking about consent. I said you and your little friends can go over and start your own voluntarist commune and smoke pot with your shirts off if that's what you want to do.
And what you're saying is the other area would have people staying in it 100% by consent, is what you're talking about.
They would have to stay in by consent by the definition. Once you allow secession, once secession is on the table, once it is something that people can do, once they realize they are trading X responsibilities and X benefits for freedom, more freedom in whatever way they want to have it, once they realize they can make that trade, then you actually have freedom. That's it. That's all there is. You can't force freedom on people.
You should have the freedom to say no.
I totally agree. Freedom is simply the ability to secede.
So what you're saying is you should be able to secede from Mark's republic even if you are staying in the same area. So it doesn't actually have to do with moving somewhere. You're saying that you can secede from your own. You can secede your own property from the republic that you're envisioning. Is that what you're saying?
As long as it's your real estate, you own it.
I see. Okay.
Once a person can secede their real estate from a government, that they don't consent to, then you have actual freedom.
Real quick,
but they have all the consequences that go with it.
I want to share a random thought that I stumbled upon here about the Nike situation.
Yeah.
Instead, this is for the Republicans out there. Instead of throwing away or burning your Nike gear, how about you just give it to one of the millions of homeless veterans that you pretend to care about?
855-450-FREE. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free here and bring up anything in the news remaining moments. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in lines as well. Go to discord.lrn.fm, and you can join the conversation there. If you would like to follow Free Talk Live on social media, we are there. We've got a Twitter profile, and more importantly, we are on Mastodon. over at toot.freetalklive.com, so you can follow us there. And maybe you want to do it old school and just get the most important updates from us. Email list is still available. Go to freetalklive.com and drop your email address in there, and we'll only send you an email, once a week. Whereas if you're following us on social media, you're getting things like show prep, the things we're talking about on the air, stuff we want to share with you whenever we want to share it with you. So if you want a more constant feed, then that's the way to go, is following our Mastodon or Twitter. Or you can, again, sign up for our emails. Or do both. Because, again, the stuff in the emails we don't really put on the social media, so you probably should do both if you want to get the maximum exposure to what we're doing here at Free Talk Live. Go sign up for our email list over at freetalklive.com. The sign-up box is near the top, toward the middle of the page there. As we go to your calls and thoughts, Sarah is on the line in New Mexico. Hello, Sarah.
Yes. Hey. I just wanted to bring up that, did you know that New Mexico, this state has the least amount of number of police officers per population?
That used to be New Hampshire.
You guys have more officers per population per capita than we do. And I just thought that maybe that explains why we have like 75 homicides so far.
No, that does not explain that at all. The fact that police exist in a place does not necessarily mean that it's going to be more or less dangerous.
Yeah, if you look at places that are unpoliced, you can find them inside of a state, and you look at populations and those sorts of things, and it doesn't have any relevance. So places where there are fewer police in New Mexico don't mean that those places are more dangerous. In fact, there are probably just more hikers there.
What do you mean? We're number one in auto theft, and we have like massive like mail theft. We have home burglaries, and they love to snatch purses. They snatched my purse during the Christmas time. It's like the holiday spirit here in New Mexico is like robbery. They even rob the Salvation Army jars in front of stores, where they ring the bells. The drug addicts rob that.
Well, they are desperate. There's no doubt about it. But the fact is, the police are basically a cleanup crew for the most part. When they get called, they may or may not show up. If they do show up, they may not show up in any decent amount of time. And usually by the time they're called, the crime is being committed or has already been committed. So the fact that there is a cleanup crew available doesn't, necessarily mean that crime won't happen.
And I'm not seeing statistics to back up your claim either.
But it is true that New Hampshire has had an increase in the amount of police per capita over the last 20 years. I think 15 or 20 years it has increased. It's still not a whole lot. But it is, I believe, about on par or maybe slightly more. And again, this is without me having reviewed the numbers in any recent amount of time. But I can tell you one thing, as far as if I'm driving from Keene, New Hampshire to Concord, New Hampshire, most of the time I won't see a single cop on the way between the cities. Sometimes I'll do, but sometimes I can make it between both places and never see a single one. So, Sarah, if you ever are in need of protection, the police are always going to be just minutes away. And those minutes, you're going to need protection in seconds. You're going to need protection right then. The cops are usually not there to help you.
Well, that also explains that why we have the most untested rape kids per capita. It's the same thing. So we barely tested 1,000. Out of the 4,000, and we have like 20,000 untested rape kids.
Well, that actually has more to do with the drug lab or the testing labs that the state probably runs. So there's a good chance, unless they're contracting it out in New Mexico, so that backup has to do with bureaucracy and the failure of government.
Yeah, so let me, real quick, I'm here at modernsurvivalblog.com, and I can't tell you the year that these statistics are from, but the number one place in the United States per 100,000 residents for police is the District of Columbia. So there's more cops in D.C. than there is in any place else. And the crime rate there is high.
Yeah, exactly.
I can look down here low, and Vermont is fourth from the bottom. I know that the crime rate there is low. So if you're attempting to correlate the amount of police in a given area to the crime rate, this particular set of statistics, which are actually sitting here in front of me on the internet, which I know you don't use too often, Sarah, does not support that claim.
Sarah, thank you for your call tonight. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. In a little bit of good news here, Silicon Valley, according to TheGuardian.com, says Silicon Valley geeks say it sharpens their thinking and enhances creativity. Other people say it lifts the fog of depression. A novel experiment launching this month, and apparently launched yesterday, will investigate whether microdosing with LSD really does have benefits, or whether it's all in the mind. Microdosing using psychedelic drugs,
it's still all in the mind.
Either LSD or magic mushrooms is said to have become very popular, especially with people working in the California tech world, some of whom are said to take a tiny amount, 1 or more days a week, as part of their routine before heading to work. It's not for a psychedelic high, though. It's to make them more focused. Microdosers tend to use either tiny amounts of LSD, as little as 1/15 of a tab, or of psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, which we also reported recently has been approved for FDA-approved testing on, I believe it was depression. The study, in this case, is recruiting just those who use LSD because of the difficulty in disguising even ground-up mushrooms in a capsule. But it's illegal. So how many people are microdosing is unknown, and there's only anecdotal evidence of the effects and any downsides. In a bid to learn more, the Beckley Foundation, which was set up to pioneer research into mind-altering substances, and the unit that it funds at the Imperial College of London, will launch the first ever placebo-controlled trial of microdosing this month. It will be unique, says the study leader. The cost and illegality of LSD would make a conventional study prohibitively expensive, so he's hit on a way of running it by inviting those who already microdose to join a self-blinded study. They will either take what they usually use in a capsule or an identical dummy capsule instead, without knowing which is which. They will complete questionnaires and tests and play cognitive games online, and only at the end will they learn whether they were happy and focused because of LSD or because they thought they were using LSD.
Placebo's very powerful.
He said, quote, the people who microdose right now are not an average random set of people on the street. They are very likely to have used psychedelics before and have preconceptions about them. He said further, you're doing something novel and exciting and that you believe in, and you know you're doing it. It's absolutely no surprise that you are getting a positive effect. Those who volunteer will take part will be sent a manual which describes in great detail how to set up the gel capsules, some containing the tiny piece of blotting paper loaded with a small dose of LSD that they normally use, and others that are empty, and then randomly assign them over 4 weeks. Smartphone-readable QR codes and envelopes containing the doses for each week will reveal what was taken and when at the end of the trial. They then go into a little bit of history of how Swiss scientist Albert Hofmann first synthesized LSD in 1936, began taking it years later, was said to have microdosed in his old age. And those who do it talk of a sense of flow and focus, with none of the extreme hallucinogenic sensations associated with the drug. Quote, it has become popular in Silicon Valley as a way to increase creativity and productivity.
It'd be interesting if the psychedelic effects of LSD are in fact just an overdose of a drug that could provide incredible amounts of clarity for the human mind.
It would be interesting, and this may be the first study to kind of scratch the surface on that, or find out that microdosing is just complete placebo effect, and that it's always been in the people's minds anyway, and that LSD didn't really have any effect on them at that level of a dose.
So at that level of a dose, yeah.
Okay, right. If you don't take a microdose of LSD,
because LSD is going to have an effect.
Yeah, it is absolutely going to have an effect. They then, talk to a few of the people who are involved in the study, and they say really nice things. Like one lady says, quote, I think it's spreading, but it's impossible to tell how much it's happening because no one knows. There's been a lot of talk about it in the last few years. At low doses, she says she thinks of it as almost a psychovitamin, saying, quote, I think it could give a boost to vitality and improvement in mood, possibly. She said that people have reported that it has lifted their depression, while others say it makes them feel more excited about their work. Quote, one can't and doesn't want to encourage people to microdose, but it's interesting to try to gather data in a slightly more scientific way from people who are doing it.
Why can't one do that?
Well, because people think bad things about
can't.
drugs. Yeah, they can't go out there and just say that without having evidence behind it, and this is the first time they're actually able to get...
Sure, but you could do a double-blind statin drug for heart situations.
So, I wish them the best with the study. Hopefully we'll hear good things between now and tomorrow night. You can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget the discount on the Free Talk Live hoodies over at libertyminded.com. It's good through tonight at midnight. libertyminded.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,195 per ounce. Zen is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,373. Antiwar.com reports in a new tweet on Monday, President Trump warned Syria against attacking the rebels in Idlib province. He also warned Iran and Russia against participating in any such attack if it happens. Trump insisted the Russians and Iranians would be making a grave humanitarian mistake to take part in this potential human tragedy, saying that hundreds of thousands of people could be killed. Though Syria has not confirmed any specifics, it is believed that they are preparing to attempt to expel the rebels from Idlib, including the al-Qaeda-dominated faction, which UN officials say has 10,000 designed terrorists fighting within. Others estimate that overall some 70,000 fighters are within the province, and the densely populated area could indeed lead to large civilian death tolls in the fighting. The U.S. opposition is particularly noteworthy, however, because recent offensives against other densely populated cities and provinces, like Deir ez-Zor and Mosul, saw not only U.S. endorsement but direct U.S. participation. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports a woman is dead after jumping out of a moving ambulance on a Northern California freeway. The California Highway Patrol said the woman, whose name had not been released pending notification of next of kin, got out of her restraints and overpowered an EMT before exiting the ambulance. She was then struck by multiple oncoming cars and died from the injuries, according to CHP officer Josh Roberts. Paramedics were taking the woman to the John George Psychiatric Hospital in San Leandro, California, after she got into an altercation with police in Pleasanton, according to the Mercury News. News, police responded to a call of a woman driving recklessly and hitting several cars, as well as a pedestrian at around 2 a.m. Monday morning. During their attempt to apprehend the woman, 2 police officers used their taser to subdue her. After restraining the woman, she was taken to a hospital for a routine medical evaluation before paramedics attempted to take her to a psychiatric hospital. Roberts said investigators are looking into how the woman was able to get out of the ambulance. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Tropical Storm Gordon whipped the southern tip of Florida with high winds and rain on Monday and was expected to make landfall as a hurricane along the central U.S. Gulf Coast on Tuesday night, according to the National Hurricane Center. The storm is currently forecast to come ashore late on Tuesday near the border between Louisiana and Mississippi and drop as much as 8 inches of rain in some areas of the U.S. South, still reeling from hurricanes a year ago. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency, saying 200 Louisiana National Guardsmen were being deployed, along with 63 high water trucks, 39 boats, and 4 helicopters. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency warned of storm surges between 3 and 5 feet and told residents of South Mississippi to prepare to evacuate. The National Hurricane Center said Gordon was generating winds of 50 miles per hour on Monday as it steamed west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. By Monday afternoon, the storm had passed over Florida's southern tip. There were no reports of any injuries or deaths or damages to buildings, according to Alberto Moscoso, a spokesman for the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Last year, powerful hurricanes walloped Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, causing thousands of deaths, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damage, massive power outages, and devastation to hundreds of thousands of structures. At the mouth of the Mississippi River, around the area of New Orleans, the storm could generate a surge of up to 4 feet, and smaller surges could hit coastland along other parts of the Gulf Coast. The U.S. Coast Guard also warned that the ports of New Orleans, as well as Gulfport and Pascagoula, Mississippi, may have to close within 48 hours when gale force winds from Gordon are expected to arrive. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The new Netflix Gas lets users instantly inhale multiple seasons of TV shows. An area man is worried the nation's healthcare debate might be getting political, and a bullied 8th grader incorrectly thought classmates would leave him alone during a field trip to the 9/11 memorial. Don't mistake my kind, gentle tone for one of love or support. This is The Onion Week in Review. According to a report released this Tuesday, no one, absolutely no one, will ever stack up to your 8th grade boyfriend, Brian Bowden, who you dated for 6 weeks in middle school. A 43-page study from Stanford University confirmed that no other guy in your life will ever be as kind or caring as the 13-year-old who held your hand during the scary parts of Jurassic Park, who had that really cool chain wallet, and who bought you 2 pink carnations on Valentine's Day. The report added that while your current boyfriend does have a lot going for him, he will certainly never cut class with you to listen to the dead Kennedy's Frankenchrist on a Sony Discman. Brian used to do that with you. He used to do it all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
No fear here, and declare your independence. I'm here, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAUT full studios of FreedomsPhoenix.com. Nice one. Okay, Working on a bunch of stuff. This is what we're going to do. What we're going to do is in the third hour, of course, we have Dr. Frank Tambury. We're going to do the Trump report. And coming on right at the end of the show, so we don't have to worry about commercial interruption and everything, Vince Suprenowitz. Vince Suprenowitz is going to have a lot to say about a lot of things, about a lot. And I wanted to get him in today, but I want him to, kind of be able to talk to Frank too. But I didn't want to do it during the regular show because Frank needs to be able to express himself and get us all caught up in all the goodies. And then in the second hour, we're going to Leo Magpock and Mike Basic. They're with Stepwise. Stepwise.io. STEPWYZE.io. Stepwise. They're doing all kinds of cryptocurrency, ICOs, blockchain, whatever, in the Philippines. Now, here you start seeing on the news and newspapers and all over crypto news and so on that the Philippines are doing an exchange and all this other, that's them. And they're from here in Phoenix. They're good friends and, good revolutionaries and everything from back in the day. And they saw the crypto thing. They said, oh, yeah, this will be a coming. So they done just fine. Well, what they did is they about four guys, good friends, they got together and said, we ought to do like some ass whipping and stuff. Yeah, let's go whip some world ass. Let us do that. And Leo had contacts in the Philippines. He's from there and knew some people and visited some family and everything. Went back and they go, yes, we would love to have you come and blockchain us up. So we'll talk about that and what's going on with the petro in Venezuela. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. But so for an hour, we get them in studio. They're going to come in and we're going to yak it up of where they're at now and what kind of projects they're working on. In the first hour here, in the last segment, we're going to have Ron Paul. Ron Paul's coming on. He's going to go ahead and explain everything to us. My thing is that, did you tell him what I wanted to talk to him about? And he's all good? He's all ready to go? Okay, cool. Because we only get him from one segment. I might be able to drag a little bit out of him. But, what would you do? If you knew everything that he'd been talking about's coming, the collapse of the dollar, the abandonment of the hegemonic, unilateral, we rule you, kick your ass, dollar, petro thing, would you talk about that? Well, might give it a little bit on that. Elections coming up, midterm, a little bit about that. His son's in Russia, kind of dealing with them, seeing what we can, not have thermonuclear war. That might be good. I tell you the big thing. For me, it's Iran. All this censorship, and we'll talk about the censorship and such, but all this censorship that's coming, and it's just driving us, to, the internet 3-point kiss my butt, because I don't know what else to call it. It's off their grid. I wrote an article this weekend. We'll go over that in the next segment too, but big thing that happened, we had Richard Grove sends me from Tragedy and Hope. He sent me an email. He's going to be on Thursday. He sent me an email and he goes, "Oh, you remember that a few years ago when he came to Phoenix? He and Lisa stayed here and hung out for I don't know, a week or more. They just hung out and enjoyed some Arizona." And he brought all his interview equipment and everything. He has like 15 billion cameras when he does his setup. And we got some, lights and stuff and whatever, and had a place out in the living room before we got rid of that freaking paneling. Yeah, those that come over here, we had this old paneling. I just had to, but you can timestamp it, because what happened is they did the interview with Patrick Wood from Technocracy.news. This is back when he was first getting back into, explaining it to us. And he did 3-hour segments with them. I mean, they just, kept going. Well, he did that. Then he had Charles Goyette come on, pimping the Ron Paul documentary project he was working on at the time. And talked to Charles Goyette. And then, of course, I did an hour or so. So during the interview that he was doing me is when the first Ghost Gunner arrived. When Cody Wilson first started doing this Ghost Gunner thing, he goes, "Hey, $9.99 on sale for $999, and you get a Ghost Gunner that be making you a gun." So I'm going, yes, I will, I think. So one of the first ones we got, now we turned the the Ghost Gunner one back. You know, in fact, he had something happened with the control board, so he just sent me another one. Well, so I had two. Well, we sent those back, and Cody sent us 2 Ghost Gunners too. So I have one that I use, and the other one's in the box. And when it's the right time, Super Bowl time, I don't know when it is. It's coming up here directly. We'll do. Yeah, you get a lot of attention. You start raffling them off. I want to do a full package. I'm going to try and see if I can get Cody. We can work a deal, and I'll buy the extra or whatever. Because to do it, you need to get the whole files. Because now you can't do it on the internet. You just got to have it on a USB or sent to someone. I'll get the USB. You know, every freaking file of everything, of everything. Then you have a handgun frame. You can do